What is up, RotoGrinders? We are back. More MLB DFS. We're chasing our losses from the early slate. At least some of us are. I am. I'm currently in salvage mode. Hopefully we min cash or something like that, but it's not great, Shakes. But we have a brand new slate. Everybody starts at zero once again. Two different slates. We should be specific here. Two different slates depending on where you're shopping. FanDuel, DraftKings. DraftKings, 10-gamer. They're including the two late games. You got the Dodgers and the D-backs. That is included in the DraftKings slate, as well as the Rockies and the Athletics. FanDuel's giving you a sprint slate. They got an 8-game sprint slate starting at 640, ending at, last game locks at 740. Joined today by the Millionaires Club. It's Bobby Gomes. It's Chop. Chop, I cannot wait for the people have been clamoring for your this very specific tier we'll be talking about later on in the show. Chat's going to be very excited. Hey, chat, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. So the reason why you turn on notifications is that we're going live at 4:30 and not 5 o'clock as we typically do, because again, this slate is starting earlier. 6:40 first pitch. Chop, welcome. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. How are things in your world?
Yeah, they're all right, Dean. I forgot that I saw the email earlier, but for some reason I had it in my mind. We never start this early though, even on the shortest. Confused me, and then I was, watching the end of the Astros choke it away again. Not as bad of a choke as the Pacers, but they lost again. So, it is what it is, Dean. I'm here. We're gonna do it. Got good tiers lined up, and I don't know. What'd you think about that ending of that game? All they had to do was inbound the ball, Dean. It's hard enough to beat the Celtics 4 times in 7 games, and then you just absolutely give one of them away. Just inbound the ball, and the game's over with, right? That's all there is to it. Man, they choked that one up bad.
It's tough. Now you got to take 4 of 6 versus Boston, and you weren't supposed to win the one. They are in position to steal the one. So, yeah, it might be a short series still. I think Indiana will take at least one in Indiana, but that was kind of a bummer if you're looking for an extended series. I was going to mention, you talk about your Astros, and I even tweeted about this last night. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that Kyle Tucker was batting 6th and 5th behind Jose Abreu. Remember that? That insanity, because God forbid you have 2 left-handers at left, back to back. You just can't do that in baseball.
I didn't have the heart to reply to you, and I know you're probably just engagement farming, but
no,
he was batting. I mean, he's never he is at his best right now. This is the best Kyle, and he's been good. Don't get me wrong, he's been, but this is the best. This is a great start. So obviously, it looks a little dramatic. There have been plenty of times when he was slumping and wasn't doing nearly as well, and I get it. And the Abreu thing, batting him, that didn't last for as long as
One game was too long. It lasted for a while.
Well, it takes time to realize, oh shit, he is completely washed. Because the last year coming from Chicago, he wasn't maybe they were hoping he wasn't completely washed, so you give him a little bit of time. But now you know it. But he's really good, man, and he's smart too, Dean. You know why? Because all these other guys in his category are taking these 7 and 8 year deals. He's just waiting back. He's saying no. He's turned down everything so far, and he really wants to.
He's going to
test that free agent so he can get massive amounts of money. So good for him. It's going to be tough to control that contract. My God.
Witt signed 11 years, 280, and he's 22, 23. Maybe he was 22 when he signed it. Tucker's 27, 28. But the way things are going, he's probably also going to get a 10-year contract. Just how that stuff goes, and the last couple of years are going to be nonsense.
Yeah.
And
it's a good when it's Witt looks pretty good right now. The Jordan long-term contract looks good. A lot of those guys look good. It's not so good if you signed Wander Franco to that long-term contract.
Well, yeah. Is he getting paid? I don't even know what the story with that is. If you get paid through suspension, but you forget he exists. It's been a while since you've seen him. The Acuna, sometimes it works out to the team friendly stuff. Acuna's got an amazing deal for Atlanta, as does Albies. If you kind of dig into it. All right, do want to say hello to Bobby, and producer Steve is saying in chat, "What's up, chat?" Bobby must have been thrilled last night with the win for Boston. I know you were talking about Jaylen Brown not being being a superstar. Or he's not a. I mean, we had that conversation on Twitter. Tatum's a superstar, but you were basically saying both of them are superstars, but neither actually show up when it matters. feel free to clarify that yourself. And then 3 seconds later, Jaylen Brown hits a 3-pointer to tie the game. I thought I was a mush. That was an impressive reverse mush. And Bobby is on mute.
Oh, oof. Sorry about that, guys. Rookie mistake being here with Chop, a little intimidated. But yeah.
Too.
Yeah, you get flustered next to one of the greatest DFS players of all time, So basically for me, Jaylen Brown and Tatum aren't superstars. Like, they're superstars in name only. Superstars to me are guys at the end of a game you can go to in their auto buckets. Kyrie Irving's one, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards. Yeah, Tatum was 0 for 5 from 3 in the fourth quarter. Like, it was literally White and Holiday that won that game for them. I guess obviously Jaylen Brown and Rick Carlisle's stupid inbound play that I don't know why they called. Like, there was a way to get that ball in somehow, right? Yeah, pretty much not. I don't like I'm from Boston, but I don't really feel connected to this team really in any way. So I don't know. I just don't really love Tatum and Brown, to be perfectly honest.
Is that today's poll question, by the way? Is Jason Tatum a superstar? Chop, you have an answer on that? I mean, look, he's like top 7 or 8 in the league, right? We're really gonna go through every single player.
No,
10?
No,
10.
Yeah.
10 might be pushing it. He's definitely not 7, right?
I mean,
I'm kind of like I'm like. I don't want to say I'm leaning. Bobby sounds really disgruntled about him. I'm certainly not like siege level in love with Tatum, and like he's okay. I would gladly take him on my team, but as far as like all that other stuff, I do think he kind of disappears in the big moments and just way too happy to take a off balance 3-pointer with 3 minutes left, as opposed to like having a game. Not to say anybody's Kobe or MJ or even Anthony, but post up, get to the hole, something good like that. Just way too quick to pull the trigger on a weird shot. But Dean, I got it. So I'd say no, he's not a superstar. But I mean, I don't want to offend Kirk Deese. Kirk Deese loves him too. But actually, Kirk is kind of neutral about him. But I got a question, Dean. Before you just have to. I'm going to ask Tim, Tasteful Tides.
Yeah.
In the chat, I have a question for him. Serious question. I need the serious answer here, Tim.
For Tim.
Yeah. Rags versus Panthers. I need to know who's going to win the series. That's all I got. I'll sit back and listen. You guys can carry on.
Was that Rangers you were saying? But you didn't say Rangers? What was his name? What do you
Rags?
I've never heard that before.
You never heard
is that like a joke?
I know Tim's heard it. No, it's not. It's their nickname. It's like what the Rangers.
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard that. I know Tim's heard it anyway. He says Rangers are going to take it.
Well, because Tim hates the Panthers. He's doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down against the Panthers. He keeps betting it. If he bets against the Panthers one more time, he's going to be on your couch next week.
Oh, so you're saying he's tainted? Oh shit.
Yeah, he is tainted.
I'm with Dean on the Panthers. Love. I'm with Dean on the Panthers. I think the Panthers.
There you go. Get on the bandwagon.
My pal Dean. Dean knows.
Get yourself a rat.
Chop, we don't know about yet. We'll see as the show progresses. See what's ranking.
Do you watch hockey? Do you watch hockey, Chop?
No, but I like to bet it though. I like to bet it. I got some. I like to aggregate everybody, all the smart guys' opinion out there that I know on hockey, and put it all together and see what the good bets are.
How do you not like to watch hockey, playoff hockey?
Oh, it's spectacular.
It's the best. It's nothing better.
Yeah, it's a different strokes for different folks, but I really do have a hard time tracking that little puck, so it kind of throws me off.
Well, with those glasses, I could see it being a little difficult, but it doesn't float everyone's boat. Those are pretty thick frames there, Chopper. What are you? The puck, I get it. Like the puck must be tough to follow.
The frames are custom. The lenses are normal. I mean, it's just a style of glass. I don't know what to tell you, Bobby. If I was as vain as Bobby, I'd probably have the surgery on the eyes and everything else.
You got the eyes, the teeth, the hair. Yeah. What else? He's got the Tom Brady experiment over there. You got the combination platter. All right, let's kind of reel it back in. Again, 8-gamer on FanDuel, 10-gamer on DK. Chop, I always like to ask you what you're doing. Sometimes you like to have a little bit of fun, run out 150. Sometimes you run one or two lineups. What is the mode of attack tonight as far as making? Are we playing FanDuel and DK, just picking one site? What are we doing?
Now I'm playing both sites. Multi-entry on FanDuel, one lineup on DraftKings, and I mean, just this morning slate. This is like a microcosm of my entire year. Like I'm gonna bubble again. I'm gonna just outside. Like look, if I pull it up, it's almost over the whole slate. There's nothing really left. I'm gonna finish 79th, about a point off of cashing, which was about 72 in the 55 and the 44 and everything on the early slate. So about a point off from cashing again, which is what my thing. But I'm still gonna run the one lineup on DraftKings. It's gonna turn eventually, and we're gonna get there.
How about yourself, Bobby? What are you doing?
11 teams currently.
You used to go like 150. Now you're going maybe 15, 16, 17.
Well, there's not 100K. There's not 100K up top anymore. It's 50,000 up top. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, it's still a 50,000 out of 150K, right? Is that what you're talking about? That contest?
Well, the 150 max, yeah.
Yeah. What it used to be, well, some days it would be 1K, 100K up top, like 300K as far as total prize pool. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think it's just been 50 pretty much all year.
But you're like in the big boy stuff and the single entry stuff, right? So 11 individual lineups. Are you playing any FanDuel or no?
No FD. Still can't get my limit bump there. They responded to my email that I sent them in September and January. So
it's almost like they actively don't want you to play.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I love their setup over there. To be perfectly honest, I love the 8K.
Not answering any emails.
No, I just didn't have a chance. I wanted to play over there, but I just did not get into it in time, unfortunately, because I had a couple things to do, and I was also digging in the golf for tonight. So I was getting my golf lineup set up for tomorrow. So
thanks for reminding me, Dean. Shit.
Yeah.
I would have gone with a bunch of zero lineups there if you wouldn't have said that. I'm gonna make the golf one.
I could have used your dead money in the pool. That would definitely help me out. I would have bumped otherwise, but now I'm going to bubble. I'll just make it. But you reserve a bunch of lineups, Chop, and forget sometimes. Is that what happens?
Oh yeah, all the time. Well, I don't forget all the time, but that's first when you see the slate up, and I just want to make sure I get the contests I want to play, so I make sure I reserve lineups in it. And about 99% of the time I go back and get it. But when it's something like golf that I don't play all that up once a week and all that, I will forget. But you reminded me, so I'm going to dig into Notorious's articles while we do the show here.
I was just, maybe don't do it during the show. You can certainly read it after.
Bobby can carry the load.
Bobby's like Jason Tatum. He's a superstar on these shows. You're the Jaylen Brown on this show, or maybe like the Peyton Pritchard, I suppose. By the way, Atlanta, their lineup is out, and for the 11th or 10th straight day, no Austin Riley, and they never put him on the IL. What are the Braves doing? What is this? They just have one less guy on the team for 10 games in a row? Very, very strange. But no Austin Riley again for Atlanta. I saw Daryl was asking yesterday, we're going to review yesterday's top line stack predictions. Yeah, well, we had Atlanta and Chicago hitting a bunch of homers. There was like 3 in that game, I think. I think they're all solo jobs, if I'm not mistaken, but didn't work out. It's baseball. That's how that goes. But I would go right back and play that again. And actually, there's pretty good weather once again for hitting baseball. It's not like it was yesterday. And there was like a cheapie homer. I think Harris got kind of a cheapie that probably wouldn't have been out. It's just, obviously, that was not the way to get there. But Ross Weather Edge Tool does like that game. 50% bump in homers. And this is a much bigger sample, Bobby. 124 games. 124 games. 50% bump in homers. 16% bump in runs. 17% bump in ERA. The tricky part is kind of like these pitchers, right? Especially Fried. Fried's a ground ball savant. It's hard to hit homers off of him because he keeps the ball on the ground. Justin Steele hasn't been great coming back this year, coming back from his injury. But, of course, last year I believe he was an all-star. Really, really solid. This year, more fly balls than last year. I think Atlanta's pretty interesting. We'll talk about that. Again, 2 different things. Colorado and Oakland is on the DK slate, as is Arizona and the Dodgers. Not on the FanDuel slate. Bobby, give me the overview as far as the slates tonight. I think I think the big overview is pitching. There's a lot of pitching options for different varieties all over the place, especially and on DK. If you want a 4K crapper, that's available too. But I think pitching is the theme of this slate. You tell me.
Yeah, a lot of really good pitching on the slate. Starting with Glass now, you got Peralta up there. Mitch Spence was the 4K cheapie that everyone's going to gravitate to probably fit the Dodgers or the Braves. You have a 2K cheapie leading off in Cincinnati. Hertubais, I don't even know how to say his name. 2K cheapie leading off, so cash games, he's probably going to be in there. A ton of really strong outfield plays, though, so something to keep in mind in tournaments. I currently am going to be under on Glass now, I'm thinking, just because like how strong pitching actually is. We have him at 45% owned currently. Peralta at 16, so I don't know. I think last night I X Kikuchi. I don't know if I'm going to full X Glass now, but currently thinking about it and trying to find ways to, because I like some of these other pitchers. A lot of good weather on the slate for hitting, so good bats to get up to. It's pretty much the breakdown, Dean.
Bobby, just see this one extreme umpire. Do you know where he's umpiring today?
The extreme pitchers umpire is in
extreme hitters umpire. It's an extreme hitters umpire.
Oh,
just one, yeah.
Extreme hitters umpire. No, I didn't.
Yeah,
you can tell me.
Two of the more appealing pitchers on this slate: Freddie Peralta and Luzardo. That is, they got Alfonso Marquez. Good ballpark, obviously. They're throwing baseballs as well. I know Peralta's been getting hit a little bit harder of late, but I'm on board. I like him still. I don't care. Like you said, ownership-wise, if you kind of do that quick little peek ownership-wise on DK, most popular pitcher currently is Glasnow, 35%. The Mitch Spence, who is a person, I'm told, who is trained to throw baseballs against a terrible team in Colorado. He's just super, super cheap and mostly stretched out, and that's the story. Toronto taking on the White Sox. We know the White Sox are terrible. They also lost Eloy Jimenez, so their lineup got a little bit weaker. 22% for the Hounds. Peralta at 20%. Luzardo at 17%. Pepio at 17%. One little hiccup of Pepio is they might baby him a little bit because he hasn't pitched in a while. He had no rehab starts after going on the IL, but apparently he was working in the side. But it's also Tampa, and Tampa notoriously does baby their pitchers. Speaking of pitchers getting baby, there's Jared Jones, who's just a phenomenal arm there. Future looks bright there for Pittsburgh, but they generally don't let him fully go as far as throwing 100 pitches. But, he can rack up a pile of Ks. Nestor Cortez throwing baseballs against Seattle. Seattle strikes out a ton. We've seen some ceiling games out of Michael King. And that Cincinnati team, it is hurting. They have some injuries they're dealing with as well. But tough ballpark to pitch in. We mentioned Fried. There's a whole bunch. There's a whole lot of options. I didn't even talk about Blake Snell coming back. Blake Snell is back. We don't expect him to throw a ton of pitches. We have 83 currently as his projection. And for Blake Snell, that could be like, 3 2/3 with the way he throws sometimes. Xander Bogaerts went on the IL if you missed that for San Diego. And I guess Kim is not in the lineup for San Diego either. What does the Padres lineup look like today? It's probably terrible. Did we just get it? I'm guessing it's not very good. I'm hitting a refresh. Arias, Tatis, Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, David Peralta. When was David Peralta a Padre? Did this just happen, or has he been in the minor leagues for them? Wasn't aware of this, but good for him. Jackson, Merrill, Campisano, and Tyler Wade. Did you guys know David Peralta was a Padre? Did I miss this? Maybe I just missed it. Anybody?
I had no idea.
Should be his first at bat to the year, Dean.
Okay. Yeah, he must have been in the minors someplace. Or okay. Theoretically, I don't think doesn't look like he has a price, at least according to our lineups page. I don't think he has a price anywhere, but maybe we can find one for him. But yeah, there's Willie Peralta, there's Freddie Peralta, there's no wait. Oh, you know what? This is the situation. We got David Peralta wearing a Dodgers jersey on the Cubs, but playing for the Padres. This is one of those deals where you just don't roster him because if he does anything, he will not accumulate any points because he's on the wrong team, according to DraftKings. And that also tells you how many teams he's been on of late. Okay, Chop, give me the overview, man. There's so many good pitchers on this slate. Hitting we'll talk about as well. 10 games on DK, 8 games on FanDuel. What is your screenshot, Chop?
Ooh, screenshot on pitching is yeah, you're right. There's plenty of really solid options. obviously the most talented guy is Glass now, but this is not an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination here for him. So it's, I don't know. And he's so expensive. I don't know, man, if you want to go that route. But otherwise, there's just a lot of deep pitching arms out there, and some based on matchups, some just based on salary, some just based on being good. So, yeah, there's all kinds of ways you can go with this one. I will say this, Dean, while you were talking about the Braves, Cubs, and the wind and weather edge earlier. Now, is Roth coming on? I don't know if Roth is coming on crunch time. I want to ask him this. Okay, cue this question up. But I was speaking to another weather guy. Okay.
What? You're cheating on Roth?
No,
crazy.
No. It's a betting thing, and this guy has a handle on the weather. He says, Dean, he says it's not even a theory. He says it's a fact. It's science. The wind in Wrigley at night does not mean the same and does not mean as much as the wind during the day at Wrigley. And therefore, like, for example, last night we're all waiting for everything to explode. Never quite did. That's a daytime game. It's probably a different outcome. I don't know. I don't know. We can talk to Roth about it, but so I'm keeping my expectations in check.
Was this weather guy Kirkdees, or is this somebody else?
Actually, that's a great question. That's a great follow-up question, Dean. He has the humidity model. This is not Kirkdees. This is not Kirkdees.
So you're cheating on both Roth and Kirkdees. It seems like that's what we've discovered so far.
I mean, you have to define cheating, Bobby. It's just a weather guy in a Discord.
Well, Kirk's in your secret chat, so
yeah. Kirk's in the same chat with the weather, the guy that said the nighttime, daytime wind. So we all like, this is how the conglomerates do it. We just share information.
Combine models. They need to combine.
Yeah, we just share information and then we steamroll the competition, Bobby. That's how you gotta do it, man.
All right.
By the way, in the chat, they're asking about that Milwaukee lineup being potentially watered down. I wouldn't say it's watered down so much as like this is what they roll out against lefties, but yeah, like there's no Jake Bowers, so there's a chance he might come in the game at some point. Pinch hit alert. No Sal Frelick, another lefty, and I don't think Terang's in there either, right? Yeah, so it's not necessarily. I mean, it's not their best lineup, but it's what they do against lefties pretty much. So it's a different shuffle. Gary Sanchez is in there. Weimer did not start because he's kind of terrible. Okay, so he probably wouldn't be coming off the bench. Anyways, okay, just kind of sorting through, and I was looking at that Milwaukee lineup trying to see if there's anything goofy. We got everything, by the way, as far as the lineups. We have every FanDuel lineup. The only games we don't have lineups for are the two games that are on the later, that are the two back-end games on DK. Colorado, Oakland, no lineups just yet. Spoiler alert. Probably not going to be great. And Arizona, Dodgers, no lineups there just yet either, but fair bit of the lineups are currently in. All right. So what are we doing? I guess one of the bigger questions in the slate, was it Bobby that brought up? I think it was Bobby that brought up this pitcher for Oakland. I just think there's a pretty big opportunity cost at pitching. I don't know exactly who it's going to be, but several of these guys are going to give you more or less ceiling games. That if Mitch Spence gives me 12 points, I don't know if that's not bad. It's not going to blow my game up, but of course, if it opens up salary for some of the expensive guys that bang out a couple homers, and we're more than happy, right? But I don't know what to do with Mitch Spence, especially if he's going to get 24% ownership, and he's not. There's nothing special here outside of he's facing Colorado, and he's cheap, and he's in a good ballpark. What was your official take here on Spence, Bobby? Because we're looking at 24%. Projection currently right now, our median projection is 13.7 points, and I guess that's fine, but it just feels like a bigger opportunity cost than we've seen most of the season at pitcher.
Yeah, well, he's 4K, juice on the under on the K prop. Just looking quick, 25% K rate. 20 Rockies. It's the Rockies, like worst. Might as well be a minor league team in the best pitching ballpark in baseball. So I'm fine with the 4K Spence. Where I do have issues is with up top paying 10-6 for Glass now. I know he's fantastic. I know he's phenomenal. He should be in all your cash games. I just have questions there. And then you said Luzardo getting the extreme hitters umpire.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind taking a shot on Pepio at 7.5. I know we're worried about the pitch count. But I think that's a good price, and I think he's someone that can get the job done versus Red Sox lineup that I don't think is very great currently. 23% clip they're striking out at. Pepio, 22% Ks on the season. He is coming back from injury. More of a large field GPP stand, but I think he's interesting. I like Jared Jones as well at 9.6. I think he's a very good pitcher just overall. And then he's getting San Francisco and pitcher's ballpark. I do worry about weather edge giving a bump to home runs and ERA and pretty much everything else in that ballpark. So that's something I got to look into more. Peralta to me seems like the guy. I could be wrong here, but I don't know. It's the Marlins, right? He's 10-2, right below Glass now, 400 less. Like him a good bit.
This Marlins lineup, this iteration, 22.5% as far as Ks. I was looking at the other side, the Milwaukee side, and they strike out at 23.4%. The one thing I don't like seeing from Luzardo is the combination of him having a bit of a walk issue sometimes. On the season, his walk rate is at almost 10%. Let me see if I'll get the specific number for you. Let's see, his walk rate on the year. Why can't I not find this? It's 9.8%. Could have just said basically 10%. Not sure why I felt the need to get the exact number. But it's a patient lineup for Milwaukee. This Milwaukee lineup, especially at the top, 13% walks, 10%, 9%, 14%, 10%, collectively over 10%. And the extreme hitters umpire. I still like Luzardo. He's looked better of late. I mean, he came out this season not looking great. Went on the IL, has come back better, but legit, really, really good arm. Historically, his home road splits, as you would imagine, much better at home. Bassett, I think, is kind of an interesting one, too. Taking on the White Sox that are, we know the White Sox are terrible. Not that expensive. He's a guy that, like, if he's on his game, he can go like 7+ innings. Not the greatest K guy, but he's pretty efficient. Actually, the walks have been too high this year, 10.8%. The walks at 21%. But just picking on Chicago, I'm perfectly fine with that. Chop, your guys as far as the mid tier, right? When it comes to Luzardo, Bassett, is there somebody else you want to throw in that conversation? You have a preference amongst those two? I like Jones plenty. It's just I don't know if I want to pay full price for a guy that's going to throw 85 pitches, but he also might strike out 10 85 pitches.
Yeah, Jones is fine. Luzardo I think is actually probably my preferred play in that range. Bassett's pretty good with the matchup, and he's been decent lately. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going. I could see Michael King, sure, why not? Bryce Miller, like I kind of X'd out Brian Wu last night, the Nature Boy. I kind of X'd him out thinking, oh, that's the Yankees and all that. Well, good pitching beats good hitting when it's on, and so maybe that's Bryce Miller tonight. So I think he kind of remains in the shuffle. I just don't mess around with Nestor Cortez, man. That's just too gimmicky for me. I don't know why. I've mentioned that last time on the show, and he was on the mound, but
even against Seattle, he's not in play for you.
No, because Seattle, although they do strike out, they do have some hitters. They do have some hitters that have some power, and they've got some guys who are heating up, and they've put up some decent numbers so far in this series against better pitchers than Nestor. So, yeah, I still think they're a pretty powerful lineup, and I don't want to, even though you can get Ks against them, that's about, that's what you're hoping for is a bunch of Ks before they tee off against you. So I'm going to pass on that one. But and then I think the weather kind of takes me off of Max Fried. We can talk to Roth about the wind and all that, but Brian Belo is okay. I think he could probably rebound from his last couple starts. He was injured at the trying to get his everything, his bearings now. So there's all these guys in the mid range are fine. And I don't like we started off talking about Jones. I don't hate Jared Jones in tournaments, man. I don't know if he's going to be on my one DraftKings lineup, but I don't hate that guy in tournaments. It's a pretty decent matchup, and he's just awesome, dude. His stuff is electric.
Yeah, it's a fun time to be a Pirates fan right now. They're asking if Luzardo is reverse splitsy. Does he have any issues with lefties? I mean, we're talking about a 30 at-bat sample size this year, so against 30 lefties this year, he's not been good. The ISO 231, walking too many. The Ks have been fine at 23%. But the bigger sample, he's better against lefties than versus righties. If you stretch it back to last season, he was striking out 33% of lefties. The ISO at 122, really, really good. So that's not even worth getting into though, because he's only facing one lefty. Yeah, the former Marlin and Yelich. So he's facing a bunch of righties. And just for the record, Luzardo is not reverse splitsy. It's this season in a very, very small sample. A couple lefties got to him, and that can skew the numbers. But big picture, he's traditionally, standard better against lefties than he is against righties. All right. Oh, I do want to mention Wheel Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We spin the wheel. We give away RotoGrinders Premium. Depending on how many likes we get, maybe we'll get 1 or 2, depending on. You get yourself free access to RotoGrinders Premium, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, PGA, MMA. You get Bobby's content. You get Chop's content. You get Squirrel Patrol's coming on later. You got Dave Potts' content, the $1 Million Musings, the golf content that Chop was talking about. All you got to do is jump into the Discord channel and get yourself registered. We're going to be spinning it a little bit early, too, because we're going to do it before we do the tier rankings. So get in now, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat and just click the emblem that producer Steve has dropped in there. Make his job easier, make his life easier, because we're not going to backload that as he's doing work. He's spinning all the plates. He's doing all the things. So we'll probably do that. We're going to give that away in about 10 minutes or so. So get in quickly. Try not to wait for the last second. Make Steve's life easier. Again, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel. Get your name on the wheel. Hit that like button. If we get enough likes, we'll give away 2 individual weeks. Or you can just go ahead and buy it. Go ahead and buy yourself some RG Premium. 6 months. If you want to commit to 6 months, you get $250 off as opposed to going month by month by month by month. 1 month. You just want to commit to 1 month. You get yourself $40 off. And 3 days. It's $19.99 for 3 days. All that stuff. The links are in the description. All right. I do want to shout out, speaking of giving away RG Premium, it kind of went away. I was looking at it in the chat before. I think it was K-Town's Finest who took down the RG tournament yesterday and got himself 1 week free of RG Premium. We do that on Tuesdays. And if you're rocking the RG emblem and you have the logo, you have to take down the tournament, you get 2 weeks. So congrats to you. I assume that somebody's juiced you up. Somebody's hooked you up. Either producer Steve or producer Devin has turned the power on for you. Eric, by the way, in chat took Luzardo over 6.5 strikeouts. Okay. Who are we missing? Who should we be talking about? Well, we're not playing Snell, right? Just first game back. We're not doing it. We're just crossing them out, Bobby.
Yeah, crossing them out, but I do. Yeah, just crossing them out. When he's low owned, that's when you want to play him, right? But he's probably he's first game back stuff.
It's the old Robbie Ray rule. It's a good thought.
We're going to talk about Bassett at all versus Sox. I think he's back in our lives, and we have to consider him at that price for sure.
He's too cheap. The matchup is too good, right? That's kind of what we're talking about. 7.2K. Take on the White Sox. No Eloy. Not that Eloy's amazing, but like whoever they replaced him with is not as good as Eloy. At least not as much of a threat. Let's run down the White Sox lineup. Pham, Lopez at the top. Sheets, DeYoung, Benintendi, Dominic Fletcher, Remillard, and Martin Maldonado. So, 23% as far as Ks. The collective ISO is 118. None of that's very good. Where are you at as far as Bassett? Because he feels kind of sort of safe. And I know that word's not – that's probably the right word, but it feels fairly safe against this White Sox team.
Yeah, he's in play for me, for sure. He's in my pool. I hate playing him. I'm not going to lie. He's just a tough roster usually, especially when he gets into those long innings. But we haven't projected for 97 pitches. The White Sox strike out a pretty high clip. They're the White Sox. So not paying up at pitcher, I think he's one of the guys that if you're not paying up at pitcher, you can maybe look to Bassett. I'm not too high on the Toronto lineup today, and I think they're going to be pretty chalky. I think I'm only going to play them as secondary stacks. So I don't know. I worry about Bassett, but he's a pitcher and he's a high variance pitcher. He'll just be in the pool. Like Pepe out in the middle there between Luzardo and Bassett, though, I'll tell you. 7.5 for Pepe out, 7.2 for Bassett, 7.8 for Luzardo. Starting to like Pepe out a little more.
Do you want to hear a wild stat I saw today on the Twitter? So you know it's true. The Blue Jays this season, how many home runs do they have out of the 4-hole? The cleanup hitter, how many home runs from the cleanup hitter this season? They played like 50 games.
Like 2?
0. They have 0 home runs from the cleanup hitter. Isn't that amazing? Talk about gut. That's the kind of thing that gets you to the top of the gutless power rankings. Somebody like Kirk would know.
Well, they let Matt Chapman go. He was the guy for the Blue Jays. And they're not playing Jansen today.
Too, though.
I love Matt Chapman.
Is he your third favorite behind Darno and Danny Jansen? That's why you're upset. There's no Danny Jansen today. It's Kirk. That's why you're upset.
There's no Jansen. Can we play Nick Nostrani? No, not even close.
I mean, you can. I'm not.
I'm not.
You're an adult. You can make your personal choices, but it's not for me. Well, the other guy that's out of the lineup is they have a couple regulars out, right? You mentioned the lineup not being great. I cannot think of the other person.
They're finally getting Varsho too, and Schneider won. Right? Schneider and Varsho seem like the best plays. Vladdy's there. He's as gutless as they come. Kevin Biggio. Yeah, Kirk's in there. I don't love this lineup from
Springer. That's who's not playing today. No Springer.
He stinks too. I'm over Springer.
Also not great.
Yeah.
Your Astros did a good call there, Chop, not paying him. They were sharp about that.
Hell yeah, Dean. They were real sharp when they had a good GM, man, before they fired him because the owner was a little bit upset. Couldn't get along.
What was the owner upset about?
They just didn't get along. And the owner, and
they were cheating.
No, they don't cheat, Bobby. Everybody dabbles a little bit in the extracurricular.
We're gonna call it that.
I guess you're right. You cheat on Roth and Kirky there, so
yeah. We're gonna tell Roth that you're cheating on him. He's not gonna appreciate that.
He's not gonna be happy about this when he comes on. I'm gonna let him know.
I'm trying to see if there's any other pitchers that I feel like we should stress and have the conversation. Several people mentioned, Bryce Miller. You can get him super low owned. I'm not going that route. I don't make enough lineups. It's not going to happen for me. Max Fried, I think Fried's great. I don't like picking on him. But he's not a guy that's going to compile like 7 or 8 or 9 strikeouts. Most likely he can go 7 innings. He can even go 8 if he's really being super efficient. Michael King, he's dropped some really good games. This Cincinnati lineup is it's not the best Cincinnati lineup, is it?
Does the win matter for Fried, you think? Because he's such a ground ball pitcher.
I think it matters less for him than other people, but I think it matters to some degree. But I think it's not as big a deal as if it was like Tristan McKenzie or something like that. Somebody who just throws a bunch of fly balls.
There's not many fly ball hitters on this team though for the Cubs, like outside of Suzuki. Bellinger has good BVP.
Oh boy,
I don't know. Yeah,
is Chop aware of that?
I think so.
My algorithm runs it all, Dean. It did not favor Bellinger today. If that's a little precursor, if we get enough likes, I'll drop the BVP play of the day. It did not favor him, but it definitely picked up on some things.
Jason in chats, how do I sign up for the wheel giveaway? Just want to, because we're going to be pivoting to that shortly. It's even scrolling in the bottom. Yeah, go in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord. You do not need a premium RotoGrinders account. Just any RotoGrinders account will get you in the door. Most of the channels are free. Some are premium. Most are free. Of course, that would be a free one. It would be cruel to have you sign up in a premium channel when you're looking to try to win premium. That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, go in the live stream chat channel. Producer Steve has a post. Just click that post. He'll take your name. He's going to throw it on the wheel. We're going to spin that wheel in a few minutes and give away at least 1 week of our RG Premium, possibly 2. We'll see. Let's see. 6 o'clock is when Crunch Time's coming in. Squirrel Patrol, Kevin Roth, and I think Dave Potts is back. Double duty. Long day for Cheese. Writing the massive article, the musings, and of course he was on the early show as well. What other pitchers are worth talking about? Do you guys have anybody else that we should focus on? Or Chop, is there somebody you're going to take a big stand on? I know you're talking about making just one lineup sometimes. So have you figured out your pairing on DK, or is that still in flux?
Oh, no, that's definitely in flux. I will say that, just kind of perusing so you look at the bat and their projections, and obviously you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But, there's a region there that's really bunched together, man, that's separated by like 1.5 points for a whole bunch of pitchers there. So it just tells you that it's all kinds of, scrambled in there. The more I look at the lineups that have come out here, the more I'm liking Pepiot, like you just mentioned. I think that's a pretty strong lineup for him to navigate through, or like a strong matchup for him. You know what I mean? A bad lineup. So I'm liking a little Pepe out even more as we go through. But Luzardo was the guy that stuck out to me earlier against Milwaukee. At that price tag on DraftKings, man, he'll probably be in my lineup over there. But I'll probably avoid the two expensive guys, Peralta and Glass now. So right offhand, and I don't know if we talked about Bello, but I don't mind Bello. I talked about him a little bit earlier, but that's kind of where I am. I probably won't pay over $8K for either one of my pitchers on DraftKings.
Really? That's interesting.
Bello is right at 8K, correct?
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned you had the bat open. I'm curious, where does Cardi have for Pepio's pitch count? Currently, RotoGrinders, we have him for 85 as a median projection. That's my one concern.
Damn, I just closed it, Dean, but I can pull it up real quick. Let me pull that up for you real quick.
Probably similar, but I just caught
wind of his there's a lot of strikeouts in that lineup for Boston. That's what I was kind of pointing on. It's Bats only got him at 72 for a pitch count.
There you go.
Bat's been known to be a little bit off sometimes, but I don't hate it. It is what it is. You got to take a chance sometimes. It's like Jared Jones. The only, the price tag on Jones though is the only thing that's going to drive you down.
They're charging you for a full allotment of pitches, and we're not sure if he's going to get a full allotment of pitches.
I don't know. The guy can strike out double digits in 70 pitches. He's that good. So
can we talk Bello more? Because I think it is interesting. I just worry about, is 4.5 K prop juice on the over? Are we fine with that at 8K?
Well, it better be juice in the over if it's 4.5, right? So
yeah.
What is it like by minus 150 or something? Is it a big number?
Minus
staring at it.
120, I think.
Looking at that Tampa Bay lineup, there's some Ks in there. Rosarena strikes out a fair bit, 32%. Lau at 22. Diaz pretty contact heavy. Paredes contact heavy. Collectively, 22.3%. Let's see. Bayo on the season, 20.5%. Better strikeouts versus righties, not surprisingly, 23.9. He's seeing a fair bit of lefties, though. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties. I think he's fine, but I'm not prioritizing Bayo. I know both of you guys like him. I think he's fine. But, if I have to make my stack work, sure. But I'm not starting with him.
Is Josh Lowe your BVP play of the day, Chopper?
We need enough likes. Can't give it away without the likes. We got 663 people watching now. We got to have at least 100 likes by now, right?
I don't know. That seems like that's the bare minimum. I would imagine so, especially if they want to get 2 spins on the wheel, which we're going to be spinning momentarily to give away RG Premium to 2 people that have their only 43, apparently, according to producers. Good Lord, 43. It's not
Dean,
great.
You got to get some accountability here, man.
What?
The people have to hit the like button, or
I can't force them to do it. What about a strong?
Here's what you do. You give a little leverage here. You got all the leverage. You're the one controlling the show. You say people.
Steve controls the show.
600.
I agree with Chopper.
670 people. I'm not saying, you know what? We're just gonna talk a little NFL best ball in May.
Oh no!
If you guys don't get up to 100, when you get to 100 likes, we'll resume talking about the slate. How about that? That's leverage right there.
Chop, the other night, Bobby sneaks into my DMs like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and then he goes, "Man, I'm in the softest draft right now." And me and him were in the same draft. I had no idea it was in my draft. He was just making fun. He take a cheap shot, but the both of us are actually in the best ball streets right now. I'm not proud of saying that. I don't want to talk about it right now, but I don't know if Bobby does. But Pittman might have hurt himself today in Indianapolis. I'm not sure how serious it is. Just be on alert. He went in the tent. That's all I can tell you. But
get him around later. Get on there.
You got to react. You got to adjust for sure. But all right, we're up to 73 now. So what was your advice though, Chop? What do I just stare at the screen and play a game of? How do I force the people?
I just gave you the advice, Dean. You tell the people we're not resuming talking about this slate till you get me 100 likes. Otherwise, we're going to talk about best ball. We can talk about new TV shows. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. But
watching the Jinx part 2.
I did watch the first one. I haven't got into the second one. I just don't see how there's did he do something new? Otherwise,
it's a good. There's like some interesting footage from the core. It's worth watching, I would say.
There's so much to watch. I'll have to put that way on the back burner because there's just so much to watch, man. You know what? I saw a movie, Dean. I saw a movie on Friday. I waited 6 days because it dropped on Saturday, but I waited till Friday night, movie night, to watch it. I'm gonna recommend it, Dean. It's good. It is the book of Clarence. It's not for everybody. But it's the book of Clarence.
You put pants on and went to a theater, or you order it?
No. It's streaming on. It was on Netflix. It dropped on Netflix on Saturday. Okay. Recently in the movie theaters. I watch them like right when they hit streaming from the movie theaters for free. Sometimes I'll pay the $4.99 or the $5.99, but usually I just wait because it'll be out in a month or two.
Oh, it's got That's the guy from Lupin. I don't know if you watched that Lupin show on Netflix. Plays. You know what I'm talking about or no? French show. The Omar Sy, I think it's how you pronounce it.
No. Oh, yeah. He was in that one. I thought you were talking about the guy from Nope and Atlanta. He's really good.
No,
Stansfield Keith, I think his name is. He's a really good actor. But it's really good. It's really well thought out, Dean. I'd recommend.
All right, we'll put it on the list. We'll give it a shot.
Why not? Hey, whoa! Now speaking of list, did you ever get to watching Apocalypto?
I will do that before the next time we have a show. I will watch
gracious.
That. Yeah. And we still have to get producer Devin, I'm not sure if he has or hasn't, to watch I can't believe this sentence. We got to get him to watch Shawshank Redemption, which he's never seen, apparently. At least as of like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's not
okay. Good. We have 89 likes, 11 more. Well, we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel a couple times, give away some RG Premium. Jason's saying he still can't figure out how to get to the wheel. I don't know how else to say it. I don't mean to. Go to the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. There's a bunch of channels you can jump into. You have to have a regular RotoGrinders account, any RotoGrinders account. Doesn't have to be a paid one, just one where you check and see where your current ranking is, whatever works for you. Get you in the door. Go into the live stream chat channel. Producer Steve has a post. Just click the emblem right under the post, and he will know that's you. He's going to take your name and throw it on the wheel. We're going to spin that wheel shortly. Peter Butter Falcon is a good movie, Butto Jenkins. Yes, that is Shia LaBeouf. It's a Shia LaBeouf movie. It's actually a pretty good feel-good movie. You ever see it? I see you nodding your head, Chop. You like that movie? It's pretty solid. I think it's on Netflix now.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like, before LaBeouf went off the deep end, he's a pretty good actor. He's an entertaining guy.
All right. Brandon Hughes is going to be an opener today for the Diamondbacks. Is he another lefty? Arizona's getting smart. They figured out you're supposed to open up against the Dodgers with a lefty reliever. I know they were doing it with Mantiply. Who's Brandon Hughes? I bet he's another lefty. Maybe he's not. I could be making that up. Let's see. He is a lefty, so they're going to be opening up against the Dodgers with a lefty. I don't think that changes everything, but just
I don't know, Dean. It doesn't. It is what it is right now, but that's a blueprint for the playoffs. This is how you're going to get an edge up on the Dodgers, man. It's a blueprint. Watch it. That's why the hitting is not as effective as the pitching in the playoffs. You need good pitching.
Anything else as far as pitchers before we spin the wheel? We do a little. We're gonna have a little bit of movie talk in a second, also, by the way, because Chop, his favorite movie franchise. We'll be talking about when it comes to tiers. Bobby, give me the summary as we're going to spin the wheel shortly.
The summary for what?
For pitchers.
Okay, for me, like I said, I think I'm paying down. Glasnow is obviously your cash game pitcher, along with probably Mitch Spence or Chris Bassett or Jesus Luzardo. If I had to rank my favorite pitchers, currently my most ownership is to Spence. Freddie Peralta, I'm probably pitching ahead of Glasnow in tournaments. Also going to have some Ryan Pepiot in tournaments. Going to be playing some Bassett and some Austin Gomber, who we really didn't get into a bunch. But
do you want to say anything about Austin Gomber outside of he's a pitcher throwing balls against Oakland and he's cheap and he's in a good ballpark? Is that what you want to say, or is there something else you want to add to that?
He's been good outside of Coors, right? So I don't mind Gomber. It's in a good pitcher's ballpark. Oakland has been better of late, but I think for just the price, I think in tournaments he's fine. And a nice pivot off of Spence if you don't go to Spence.
I didn't realize how good Gomber's been. I got to be honest. 3.02 ERA, but now like the Sierra says he's been lucky. 4.65 Sierra. Left on base, 86%. Super lucky. He throws half his games in cores, and his BABIP is 238, which is bizarre. Like that's the biggest field in all of baseball. That should correct at some point. But yeah, it is worth noting he's been better and real life results. And he is throwing baseballs in Oakland tonight. Okay, let's go ahead and spin the wheel. We'll talk some stacks in a second. Producer Steve, is Steve going to come? There he is. What's up, Steve?
What's up, guys? We did get our 100 likes, so we can do 2 winners today.
There you go.
Good job, Chop.
Talk. Yeah, good job, Chop. Thank you.
Thank you, Chopper.
All right, I'm going to shuffle up the names really quick and spin it. Shuffle, and here we go.
How many likes still Chop gives out his guaranteed homers? Is it 1,000, the standard number?
990 today, Dean. A special for you. 990 likes, and we give it away.
Double M squared is our first winner.
All right, and like you or yourself or producer Devin's going to slide in and hook him up, I assume, in the Discord channel.
Okay. Do you think that's Terrence Howard?
I'm sorry?
I think double M squared is Terrence Howard.
Bobby's doing a deep dive on the Joe Rogan Terrence Howard. I haven't gotten to it.
I don't get the reference yet.
He was like, at 5, I knew the square root of every number or something like that. I was like, all right, dude.
All right. Maybe it's him. Three-step Charger. All right, guys. I'll tag in the Discord. Congratulations.
Do you think he has best ball stacks of the Chargers?
I hope not. Well, you can get them pretty cheap. You probably have some, Bobby. Yeah,
I'm sure you do. You're the value guy.
Harbaugh with Herbert is the worst. Like it's just the worst. The guy's got a legit arm, and like why are we sticking him with this like guy stuck in 1940s with his attack as far as offensively? But that's a whole other conversation. I don't like it. Okay, so hey, Chop, tell the people what you ranked, and I'm curious if we can sort of prompt them. Like I want their favorite amongst this series, maybe their least favorite amongst this series, before we reveal the board.
So let me preface this by saying, Dean, there is not a bad Fast and Furious movie. Okay, but we had to tier them up. Okay, I was asked.
I strongly disagree here.
I was asked to tier them up based on my expertise. So I did that, although I could watch any of them at any time. So that is what we're doing. Fast and Furious tiers from 1 to 5. 1 being great, 5 technically on this board being not good, but like I said, we'll just say it's not good for a Fast and Furious movie. But so it's Fast and Furious stuff. I don't know what everybody else likes, but I don't know what if Steve was supposed to drop that, or if we were supposed to have some banter about that.
Yeah, it's up there, Chop. I just wanted to give the people in chat to kind of like throw out their favorite before it was officially revealed. But yeah, do you want to give like a quick little rundown why that you chose what you chose?
Yeah. So Fat Meat Greasy says in chat, Tokyo Drift was trash. I beg to differ. I like the Lucas Black character, and that's introduces us to Han, and it's just a breakaway, so I don't mind Tokyo Drift. That's me. So number one, Fast and
either. I'm with you on Drift. I think
so. Fast and Furious, the original. That's the Godfather. That's got to be number one. It just has to be. It's the Godfather. So I go for Fast 5 because then 2, 3, and 4. We kind of took a break from the norm. The guys, the family wasn't together. There was peace, peace here and there. And 5, we got the family back, and we made the jump to the impossible. Like things started going crazy off the rails, man. In Brazil, love it. So Fast 5 is number 2 for me in that one. Number 3, this is the neutral category for the stacks. I went Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm neutral on it.
That's not the second one, right?
Yes, it's not a great movie. Okay, for the franchise, the family wasn't together. Really, only Paul Walker was in it. But it introduced us to one of the greater deadpan comedic characters in movie history, Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese. Love me some Roman Pierce. So I'm gonna put that one in the neutral category. Number 4, Hobbs and Shaw, a spinoff. Like, okay. I'll watch it. I've watched it, but I'm not like running to watch it over and over. So I'll put it down here. And last one, I'll put in this is the bad stat category. Now, it's not a bad movie, Furious 7, but this has to be here because this was the movie in the middle of shooting. We lost Paul Walker to a car accident, and we had to have his brother fill in for some of the later scenes visually to finish the movie. So it's the saddest one if you ever watch it. So I'm putting it down here.
By the way, just a heads up, Garrett Cooper got scratched for Boston. Boston's new lineup, they're in Abreu, Wong, Devers, Refsnyder, Smith, Hamilton, Grisham, and Rafaela. Okay, Bobby, you're going to go first here. San Diego at Cincinnati. Mike King versus Nick Martinez. 9.5 total. San Diego with almost a team total right at 5, right? Minus 130 here. We mentioned David Peralta's in this lineup. You cannot roster him, but he is playing baseball tonight for the Padres. No Bogarts, but Bogarts went in the IL. I assume that was the why they got Peralta called up. But and this kind of a weak Cincinnati lineup as well. There's no Friedel. There's no Fraley. India's batting 8th. Benson batting 9th. Well, batting 9th versus the righty. Yeesh, it's been a tough season for Benson. They're not even throwing up the top, which they were earlier in the year against righties. But all right, what do you have, Bobby? Where are we putting the Padres and the Reds?
I think they're both going in too fast, too furious for me. Just a little breakdown of why. Obviously, you're taking Bogarts out of that lineup, which really doesn't matter much because he's been absolutely terrible. But for the San Diego, I like the one-off power with Tatis and Machado and Great American Small Park. Favorite hitter, probably Cronenworth. I think Jackson Merrill, I don't know what his home run prop is, but I like him today. I think on FanDuel he was plus 530. Luis Campusano, I think, is a very good play at the catcher position at 3.8. That's for San Diego. And for Cincy, it's mainly the lefties outside of Spencer Steer. Her two bice is going to be chalky at 2K. And I like Ellie, obviously. Ellie and Benson. Mike Ford, I think, is an interesting one, too, at 3.3. Is he still in the lineup? Did he make the lineup?
He's there. Yeah, he's got some power. He'll strike out a fair bit, but yeah, I don't mind him as like a cheap source of power. Merrill, by the way, you can get him at looks like plus 520 on FanDuel according to Scores and Odds. Like that number?
Bob? I like it. I gave France yesterday, so I think I had to throw one out there.
Are you going to make me do this? You're taking the victory lap, and we'll have Chop answer. Chop, when you give the home run call. Chop, when you give the home run call, and you do it based on the matchups, and like Bobby likes to dig in the put IQ stuff, and he homered off the bullpen. Like scoreboard, you got it right. He hit a homer, sure, good for you. It counts, but can you victory lap it? Is the question.
Oh, 100%.
Thank you, Chopper. I'm the Chopper today.
Like, what's the question? Is that a rhetorical question? Is that a rhetorical question? Come on, dude.
It's Tout 101. That's like the first thing they teach you. Yeah, for sure. You're definitely allowed to. Okay, I just want to make sure. Chop, where would you put these teams? I have a little bit of umbrage. I would move one of these personally, but I'm only here to break ties.
Well, initially I also went in the too fast, too curious category. I'm kind of neutral on both of them. I will say this much about San Diego. The lineup doesn't strike out. They're not going to strike out. And there's not like very many bad hitters, 1 through 9. There's not a lot of power, but they're not going to strike out. And there's not bad hitters. They're all adequate. So, if you can somehow piece Martinez up early and get them, but I'm going to put them in the neutral category.
Okay. Personally, I would have put San Diego in Fast 5, but you guys agree. They're both in the middle. Let's move on. Chop, you're up next. Next game on the board after San Diego and Cincinnati, it's Milwaukee at the Marlins, 7 total. 2 of the more popular pitchers in this slate, Peralta versus Luzardo. Bad ballpark to hit in. We did mention before some potential pinch hit stuff for Milwaukee, when Aredi comes in. Not 2 of the more popular offenses as far as I can tell, Chop. Where do you have the Brewers and the Marlins?
Miami against Peralta is in the very last Furious 7 category. There's no way I want to play Miami in general. And Peralta, I know he's had some struggles lately, but no chance I'm stacking against him, man, with Miami. Milwaukee for me is one above that. It's Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, Luzardo. I have much more interest in Luzardo than I do the Milwaukee lineup today.
Your thoughts, Bobby? Any issues? You want to lock those in? Would you move those?
I think we can lock those guys in. Yeah.
By the way, noted movie buff in chat, TJ Zwarich, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, is saying Fast 5, not first, is egregious. Also, Furious 7 should be 2.
I disagree with TJ with the enthusiasm that Chop gave that list. Like, Chop is obviously in the same way that TJ is very passionate about Marvel. Chop is that way about Fast and the Furious. So I'm going to go with the expert.
I'm not sure TJ heard the explanation for Furious 7. So I've said it was a very, very good movie. And, I gave my reasoning, and I'm not sure if he heard it, but, I stand by it.
You're telling TJ to stay in his lane. Is that basically what I'm hearing? And that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
I'm not ranking Avenger movies for him.
I think after the first one, they're all the same movie to me.
Hoosier saying Banners wants to know, how did Magic Mike not make the list? Well, because it's not a Fast and the Furious movie. I don't know how it would have stuck in there.
Maybe next show we rank Magic Mike movies.
Well, there's only 3 of them, right? I believe there's only Magic Mike XF.
I can find 2 more spinoffs.
There's no more. You can't make up spinoffs.
Yeah, I can make them up. We had the one guy was in True Blood. I could throw True Blood, the TV show, in there as a part of it. And
Sarsgaard?
No.
They can find spinoffs in the secret chat for sure.
All right. Snell versus Jared Jones, 2 pitchers with an incredible arsenal. Sometimes it's not perfectly harnessed. 7.5 is the total pitcher's ballpark here. Giants versus the Pirates. Chop, I believe you're going first here. Where do we have San Fran and Pittsburgh? No.
Sorry, Bobby's turn.
Bobby, you go first. My apologies.
So for me, I actually like Pittsburgh a good bit. I'm going to put them in Fast 5. San Fran, I'll put in 2 Fast, 2 Furious, just because I don't want to deal with the pinch hit risk. Weather Edge likes this game a good bit. It isn't a great ballpark, but guys that stood out for me for Pittsburgh, Edward Olivares. Did he end up making the lineup? I didn't see their last lineup.
Yeah, he's batting cleanup actually.
Yeah, I like him a good bit. I like Michael Taylor down there at the end. O'Neal Cruz not playing versus a righty. Connor Joe, someone I have interest in. Nick Gonzalez. I like Pittsburgh today.
You want to know Cruz's you mean versus a lefty? I think you were saying
versus a lefty. Cruz, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, left on left. He's striking out 34% of the time this season. 118 ISO, 162 WOBA, 1.9% walks. That's terrible. He's been really, really bad versus lefties. I can't do that. If he does something, good for him. But there's no way I can justify it unless you're fully stacking. Sure, Snell can just walk the world, and eventually you get to the pen. Chop, Pittsburgh and San Fran. Do you have any issues with Bobby's rankings?
Pittsburgh, I have he's got Fast 5. I had just neutral. I don't know what Blake Snell I'm going to get. I just had neutral, whatever, that's fine. And Frisco, no, man, I had Frisco all the way down in the very bottom, just because, we could get 6 shutout innings here, 6 strong innings from Jared Jones. I don't know. I just don't want to stack that much against them like that. So against them, but I do also we got let me see if I can pull up the be shot in chat, Dean. He says, how did Tokyo Drift introduce Han? He died in the movie. I don't want to give away spoilers. Yeah, I don't want to give away first. Yeah, that is a bad split. If the people haven't seen Tokyo Drift, now they think Han died in the movie. Don't do that, bub. But I don't want to give away spoilers of my own. But maybe Han didn't die in that movie. Maybe
Han might be the best character in the whole show.
You just told me he did, though.
This guy said he did, but I'm saying maybe he didn't. You know what I'm saying, Dean? Maybe he didn't. We thought Tokyo Drift was like a movie that was set behind all the other movies that came after, when in actuality, maybe
was it a prequel?
That's what we were led to believe for many years. But maybe, just maybe, Han actually didn't die. Maybe it was all orchestrated. And I'm not saying nothing, but that's how good the Furious movies are. You just don't know.
I've seen like 3 or 4 of them, but not like consecutively. And I kind of bounced around. So I'm not sure if I think I'm aware of Han, and I don't know which one you're talking about specifically. As far as the stacks, you guys disagreed. So this is where I jump in and I get my say. Move Fast 5 to the middle. Pittsburgh down to the middle with Too Fast, Too Furious. That's what Chop said. And I think Sanford was already moved to Hobbs and Shaw by producer Steve. I'm pretty sure it was in Too Fast, Too Furious. But yeah, I think we should keep it in Hobbs and Shaw.
It makes sense in Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, I forgot about Jones. So yeah.
Oh, we can do the John Wick one soon. There's 4 John Wicks. I guess there's one more coming. I've not seen the most recent one, but I did see the one with Boban, and it's spoiler alert. Boban, never mind. You've probably seen it already. Rangers versus the Phillies. This is Dane Dunning versus Taijuan Walker. 9.5 total, one of the bigger totals on the board. Pretty good hitting environment. Let's see, we got a favorite here in Philadelphia, minus 120, almost a team total of 5 versus Dunning. 2 of the better offenses. There's a reason we didn't talk about these pitchers just yet. This is Chop. Texas, Philadelphia. Chopper, what do you got for me?
This one's pretty easy here for me. Phillies is going all the way up top. The Fast and the Furious, the elite. Phillies in the elite range. Yeah, there's just no weak hitters. There might be one below average hitter in that whole lineup, and they're going to get Dane Dunning in good weather. And they're on fire, Dean. They might be the best team in Major League Baseball, and nobody really talks about them because everybody wants to talk about.
Ranger Suarez is the greatest pitcher in the world, apparently.
Everybody wants to talk about the Dodgers and, all the offseason signings and everything, but nobody talks about the Phillies, and they're the most built to win a World Series with that pitching and hitting. But they're number 1 to me on the whole slate, so that's there. And then Texas, also same situation. Taijuan Walker's very average. Not a lot of these guys in this Rangers lineup is going to strike out. Not a lot, there's a steady stream of good hitters coming out of this lineup. Good weather. I'm going Fast 5.
It's been a rough season so far for Walker. Over 2 homers per 9, a ton of fly balls, not enough strikeouts. The barrel percentage is, I believe, it's the highest barrel percentage on this slate at 17.6% according to FanGraphs. It's too high. Yeah, I like both sides of this game offensively. Looks like Chop likes it as well. Do you agree, Bobby? Fast and the Furious, number 1 for Philly is Texas right below at Fast 5.
Yeah, I think I'd put them both in the Fast and the Furious. Phillies, if they get to Texas, they get Texas bullpen. And a lot of these Texas guys grading out pretty good. Just looking through, Seager, obviously, fantastic play. Jonah Heim, Josh Smith. I have no idea who Derek Hill is, but he's 2K.
I think he used to play for Philadelphia. Did this guy used to hit homers for the Phillies a couple years ago? I think that's who it is. We might have a revenge game. I just noticed that name too. I was staring at it as well. But yeah, I think he's like a power hitting first baseman.
Yeah. He's
not a prospect anymore. Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure this is the guy we're talking about. No, maybe not. I think I'm making it up. I think I'm thinking of a different person. Nonetheless, I will dig in and find out who he is in just a second, but give your final thoughts there, Bobby, before we move on.
Yeah, I really like Semien leading off, and Adalis, obviously, you can always play him. I just like Texas a good. I like this game for a lot of runs.
I agree with you, by the way, Bobby. I think we should move them both to the Fast and the Furious. Let's put them both up top. Overrode Chop there. Just so you know, I'm not playing favorites, Bobby. I agree with him one time. I agree with you one time. It's how it goes. Michael's telling us Derek Hill from the Tigers. Yeah, who am I thinking of? A different Hill that played for Philadelphia? Oh, the different Derek. They had like a Derek that was like a first baseman that was like a 30-year-old veteran that hit some homers, but nonetheless, doesn't matter. By the way, TJ in chat, humble bragging, he even dropped the link. He says he's talking to Han. He talked to Han for 6 minutes or so for his other sites, and I guess he's still with us. Yeah, Dave is saying with an exclamation point, he did not die. So there you go. It's been settled. Boston versus Tampa, 7.5. 2 pitchers we like to some degree. Brian Bayo versus Ryan Pepio. Good pronunciations on both of these. I like these names here. We did get a shuffle as far as that Boston lineup. I forget who was kicked out already at this point. The former Marlin first baseman. 7.5 is a total here, Bobby. Tough ballpark as well. 2 pitchers we kind of like. So I don't think we're going to be gravitating here. Big slate, 10 gamer on DK, 8 gamer on FanDuel. You tell me otherwise. Boston and Tampa.
Yeah, both in Hobbs and Shaw for me. Lefties versus Bello, Josh Lowe, good BVP. Yandy Diaz, I like a good bit, but they're more just one-offs. Paredes, I think, is fine for Tampa. And on the Red Sox side, some of these Red Sox graded out pretty well. I will say that. Willer Abreu, Devers, obviously on fire. Jaron Duran was someone who stuck out a little bit. David Hamilton's been very good. But yeah, just in the context of this slate, I'm gonna go Hobbs and Shaw for both.
All right, Chop, where you at?
I'm kind of splitting those, but similar train of thought. Tampa Bay for me is in the too fast, too furious. They've just got some decent, team batter versus pitcher number, decent batter versus pitcher number. So I got to keep them on. I got to keep them in play. Boston I have them all the way down in furious 7. Just because the lineup isn't that strong. There's like maybe 1 or 2 really good hitters in there. They will strike out a lot. Pepe, we don't know what we're going to get out of him, but they're going to follow with a pretty good bullpen if he's not even able to go that long. And you definitely don't want to be like having this team stack against a bullpen game like Tampa if that's what happens. So, yeah, I'm kind of down there. I'm down on that stack.
I think Bobby said Hobbs and Shaw for Tampa. That's where I would go as well. That's what you said, right, Bobby?
Yeah, it was Hobbs and Shaw for Tampa and the Red Sox.
Yeah, let's throw them both there, Hobbs and Shaw. By the way, Derek Hall was the guy's name. I was really, really close. Thank you, Chat. Good job. Crispy's telling me, Izzy's telling me. Yeah, I was 1 letter off, but I was excited there for a second. I thought we were talking about not Derek Hill, but Derek Hall. I don't know where Derek Hall is these days, but hopefully he's doing well. He's not playing in the majors this evening. Let's move on. Seattle taking on the Yankees, 8.5 total. Nestor Cortez, Bryce Miller, 8.5. Yankees, pretty big favorite here, -150. This will be Chop's board. Chop, you tell the people where are you putting the Yankees and the Mariners?
Dean, I had my pre-show thought process rankings, and I'm going to change it on the fly here. I'm going Yankees and Seattle, both in the Fast 5 category. The Yankees, because their lineup is just so powerful, man. And they come with a lot of left-handers that could be like a little bit of kryptonite for Miller. So I just got to put them up there. And for Seattle, I didn't want to have them this high. I didn't have them this high originally, but thinking about it more and more, Cortez is okay. But, Dylan Moore's like hitting the cover off the ball in Yankee Stadium these last couple games, and Julio Rodriguez is going to wake up eventually here. And I think there's a lot to like as far as there's not going to be any ownership and things like that. So I'm going to put them in Fast 5. I'm going to get spunky with them.
Bobby, are you getting spunky too?
The Yankees in Fast 5 for sure, like the lefty, Soto, Rizzo, Verdugo. Seattle, I'm going to go too fast, too furious. I do think Chop made a good call on Moore. He's been really good.
I am once again going to agree with Bobby. I think we dropped Seattle down to too fast, too furious.
I don't think that's fair to Chop, Dean, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not choosing sides. this is where it's head versus heart, Obviously, I would lean.
It seems a little biased. It seems a little biased. I know.
In your favor.
It's okay.
You're not part of Chop's secret chat, so you're leaning my way.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it by now, Bobby. It's okay. I'll let it shake up. But I saw Kirk Deason here earlier, and there's one that now he doesn't have. He said he's not able to put individual batters in his gutless rankings. I don't know. Maybe he's afraid of a lawsuit right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if he could, then maybe you could include Rizzo and Verdugo in the gutless rankings because sometimes those guys really, really get cold. But, Soto carries them, though, so it's all good.
I see Dave in chat saying, love Monasterio leading off for 2,500 on DK. I'm not saying you can't play him. I'm not trying to say to warn you away, but he's not very good. Stretch it out the last season. Not a lot of ice out there, not a lot of power, 122. He'll walk a little bit, sure. Strikes out a fair bit. He's okay. I shouldn't say he's not very good, but he's a heavy pinch hit risk. Now, since he's hitting off, he probably gets 3 at-bats versus Luzardo, but depending on the situation, just saying, there's a decent chance he gets the hook. Again, not saying you can't play him. He's on the road, and there's a chance he gets those 5 ABs if things go his way. But I would not be surprised. He's one of the more. If there was like a who's getting pinch hit for tonight draft, he's a first rounder. All right. Let's move on. A few more games. We're almost going to be done with FanDuel in just a second, right? We have 2 more games on FanDuel, 2 more games on DK. We have crunch time coming in about 10 minutes or so. Kevin Roth, Dave Potts, SquirrelPatrol. Bobby, you are up next. I think. Now I'm confused. No. Yeah. Bobby is next. White Sox taking on Toronto. Nestrini versus the Hound. Chris Bassett. Toronto almost a 5 total for Toronto. Where do we have the Blue Jays? Speaking of Kirkwood, I'm pretty sure they were 2 or 3 on the Gutless Power rankings, rightfully so. Toronto and the White Sox. What do you got for me, Bobby?
Steve has it. White Sox in Furious 7 and Toronto in Too Fast, Too Furious. I've seen a lot of optimals like pushing Toronto 5-mans. Do not play a Toronto 5-man tonight. Just don't do it to yourself. Play them as a secondary stack. Varsho, Schneider. They looked good. Everyone else, I don't know. I can't do it to myself. So that's where I have them.
Chopper?
Yeah, Dean, I would definitely agree with the White Sox being down there. I'm not 5 men on Toronto stretching. I had them actually a layer up in Fast 5. But I'll get behind either one of them. Dean, there is when you do a deep dive into Toronto, they really need to figure out their hitting coach situation because their hitters just aren't on the right plane, Dean. The right-handed hitters just aren't on the right plane. They're just rising up through the ball, and it's just not working for them. They need to figure something else out from a hitting perspective, Dean. But they're wasting all their young talent here, man, with bad hitting instruction.
They all peaked at 22. It's the strangest thing. They're all kind of terrible. Not terrible, but they're much more promising in seasons past.
Or they could just be wrongly coached since then. Change hitting coaches, and it's not working for them. You got to bail out on that at some point.
You know who they could hire as a good hitting coach for them? Josh Donaldson.
Oh, Joshy.
He's got a good temperament.
No, he's a great hitting. If you ever watch his YouTube video on hitting, it's very, very good. It's all about long.
I never have, actually. I never have.
Maybe they can hire Tommy Mansky.
Is Fred McGriff available? That's a reference for the olds out there. By the way, Chop, this isn't a makeup call, to be clear. Not a makeup call. This is genuine. We're moving Toronto up to Fast 5. I agree with you. Not a makeup call.
Seems Toronto like a makeup. Actually, it doesn't seem like a makeup. You're a chalk donkey. You'll have a 5-man Toronto tonight. I know your team. I can guess your team right now.
Bobby, listen. Won't be the first time he's had 5 men in Toronto.
Atlanta versus the Cubs. Just gonna let that sit there. 8.5 is the total. Max Fried versus Justin Steele. This is the last game on the FanDuel slate. The wind did not quite work out for us last night. Wind is still really good. I'm going to give it a refresh on the old Weather Edge. I want to make sure nothing's changed. Weather, of course, is fluid. 124 games, 50% bump in homers in those games, 72 degrees, 12 miles per hour out to right center field. Fried's good. Steele was good. Not great this year so far, but I figure he'll figure it out soon enough. But the Braves are a tough team to figure it out against. It is a weakened lineup. There's still no Austin Riley. But, Chop, Atlanta, Chicago. This is part 2. The sequels are never good as the original, but the original wasn't very good. Are we buying the wind, or what are we doing here as far as the Braves and the Cubbies?
I don't know, Dean. I don't know, because on one hand, Roth is saying the wind is excellent for hitting. On the other hand, my weather coach from another channel is saying the night wind is not as good as the day wind.
That's Josh Donaldson.
We got a solid pitcher here in Max Fried. I'm kind of the wind is a scary thing, so I'm going to put Chicago in the too fast, too furious category, just neutral. I'm not really in that. But for the Atlanta Braves, Justin Steele just doesn't seem like he's been particularly good this whole year. But especially these last couple outings, if you're going to factor in some wind, even if there was no wind at all, it was just dead, zero wind, miles per hour, 0. I think Atlanta would be a decent stack. So with the win, I'm going to put them in Fast 5.
Bobby?
I agree with Chop. Yeah. I think that the Cubs are going to – it's not the great – it's not like last night they do get freed, right? So he's ground ball pitcher. Not on the Cubbies too much. Atlanta, like Albies, Olsen. I think they were very chalky last night, and they struggled. I think they get back right tonight. I don't like Acuna as much. Ozuna is the one that I have a ton of interest in from Atlanta. Harris hit a home run last night. You could throw him in the mix. But yeah, they're fast 5 for me.
Yeah, I don't love Harris left on left. He's probably more of like a stat guy for me, but I like the skills in general. But all right, let's move on. That is the FanDuel slate. There's 2 more games. Crunch time coming in about 5 minutes or so. Chop, you want to give the people the knockers now before we get these last 2 games? You got the knockers, you got the old BBP algorithm, you got all that stuff ready to go?
Well, I can do the BBP real quick. Is there wasn't a lot here on this particular slate to love. The earlier slate had a little bit of action, but on this one, Bobby kind of spoiled it earlier. I'm gonna go Josh Lowe. The algorithm's spitting out Josh. It's spitting him out in a. If we were putting Josh Lowe's BVP on the board, it would be in the Too Fast, Too Furious. But on this slate, that's about as good as it gets. And just for the sake of somebody, I'm gonna put Josh Lowe on that particular thing right there. All right. Now, what you want? You want some knockers now, Dean, or you want to?
Yeah, let's fire him off. Because we got crunch time coming in about 5 minutes or so.
Oh man, what do we want to do? I feel the original knockers I had were
They get scratched?
No, but Bobby was talking about they were in Toronto, and he says they're going to be chalky. So I don't know if I want to do some chalky. Now, nobody wants chalk on their knockers, Dean. Right? You want some straight up clean. So I don't know but I'm going to go that anyway. I just got to do it, man. I think.
Reminder, by the way, the number 4 hitter for Toronto this year combined 0 home runs. That's
why I didn't put a number 4 hitter there. But although they're due, that guy is whoever that is in that spot is due. It is due. I know it's Bo Bichette tonight, but whoever hits in that spot moving forward, they're due for a home run. But I'll keep him off here. I'm going to go 2-3. Varsho, Vlad. They're fair priced. I think they're in a pretty good spot as a team, but a little 2-man stacking ain't going to be that chalky.
Bobby, did you have a homer for the people?
Looking through now. We'll see.
You weren't prepared for this segment?
I wasn't prepared for the segment. Correct. I mean,
you nailed it last night, though.
I did I nail it?
It's subjective. Really sure. Scoreboard says yes.
Yeah, you thought I didn't nail it for whatever reason. On the high end, I'll go with Ohtani. On the low end, I'll go Jackson Merrill.
Okay, Bobby, let's knock out these stacks here. Colorado, Oakland. This is only in the DK slate. Gomber versus Mitch Spence. 8 total. Oakland a -140 favorite here. Bobby, where do we have the Rockies and the Athletics?
Colorado, I'd put in Furious 7 and in the Athletics and Hobbs and Shaw. JD Davis is JD Davis in that lineup?
He's batting 5th.
Yeah, I like him and Rooker. So yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Everyone else not too much to love. Turo dingered last night, so maybe him too. I don't know.
It's too bad Travis Shaw was. I'm trying to think anybody who actually work for the names, but there's nobody. Roy Hobbs not available tonight. He's not playing baseball, as far as I know, and definitely Travis Shaw also not playing. Chop, any issues there as far as Oakland and Colorado?
I can live with the Colorado down there. Oakland, I actually was going to go crazy on them and put them in fast 5. Put them in fast 5. I know Gomber has had like it's what I don't know. What do you believe?
He's good outside of course. He's good outside of course.
Is he really good, or is he just having a good stretch? And when will it end if he is? I don't know. I just look at Oakland's lineup, and man, they do have some guys in there who are pretty darn good against left-handed pitching. They put up some decent numbers. It's a good young lineup. I don't know. I was going to, feel like if I was doing 150, which I will on FanDuel, I'll have some Oakland stacks in there, especially if Gomber is going to be semi-chalk at his price tag, which I don't know if he will be. He probably won't be, but still, they won't be popular at all.
I was telling you before, Gomber, 86% left on base. That's super lucky. The BABIP is 238 while pitching in Colorado. That's ridiculous. 3.02 ERA, but a 4.65 Sierra. Obviously not striking out many players. The walks are a tick too high, probably. Let's knock out this last game. Arizona versus the Dodgers. Chop, you're going to set the board for us. We did get news that Arizona is being sharp, and they're rolling out a lefty opener. That's Brandon Hughes. We don't have a lineup just yet for the Dodgers. I imagine that's not really going to change things a ton. Ohtani is still going to be in there. Freeman's still going to be in there. Glass now on the other side. Dodgers, big boy favorite. Arizona has a team total less than 3. So, where do we put the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, Chop?
Yeah, it's tough to stack against Glass now, even though, he wasn't great his last time out, but I don't want to do it with Arizona. So I'm putting them all the way down there, and that's just a tough matchup. And the Dodgers, I prefer the right-hander be the guy who starts the game and tries to pitch a few innings before he gets shelled. I really don't want to lose an at-bat out of my 2 left-handers in the first inning, but it's the Dodgers, so they're still fine. I'm going to put them in the Fast 5 category.
Any issues, Bobby?
No, Dodgers Fast 5. Arizona, I'm going to put Hobbs and Shaw. I think a guy like Marte could get Glass now early. Jock, I don't mind.
Revenge?
Yeah, obviously. I think I'm going to be under on Glass now. So I like some of these Diamondbacks. Not a ton, but
minis. You're not playing a full stack? Mini Arizona?
No,
is that what I'm hearing?
Just one-offs, I'd say, for leverage.
All right.
I don't even think I'm playing them. I'm just saying that I think they grade out well.
You could have just said, Chop's fine. We had them. We'll keep them there at Hobbs and Chop for you. Final board: Philadelphia and Texas, all by themselves, all the way at the top with the Fast and the Furious, the original. Fast 5, the second tier. That's Yankees, Toronto, Atlanta, Dodgers. In the middle, 2 Fast, 2 Furious, San Diego, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Seattle. The Cubbies and the A's are somehow in the middle. Hobbs and Shaw is Milwaukee, San Fran, Boston, Tampa, Arizona, and all the way at the bottom, where these teams always seem to be, the Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rockies. All right, let's go ahead and bring in crunch time. We have, by the way, I think this is a full millionaire show with the exception of one person. I'll let you guys figure out who it is. We got Squirrel coming in. We got Dave Potts. Of course, we have Bobby Gomes and Head Chopper and myself and Kevin Roth. Let's bring in crunch time. All right. Yes. Roth, they had a question for you. First of all, I hope you're sitting down, Roth. Chop is cheating on you. He's been talking to a different meteorologist. I thought you had this on like a
That is fake news.
What the shit? Chop?
These guys always stirring up trouble, Roth. I said I was in a
play the tape.
Yes, play the tape.
Let's see how defend yourself.
Play the tape.
I said I was in a betting Discord. And there is a meteorologist in there also, and he threw out something to me last night and then today in reference to the Wrigley Field wind. He says not all wind, it's not all the same. The night wind is not as effective in Wrigley as the day wind. What do you think about that? What would you say to that?
Who the hell is this guy? Who's he? No, I don't think it matters.
Are there elements at night that could offset the benefit of some of that wind blowing out? That during the daytime, maybe it's even more effective.
Generally, in the daytime, you get more gusts because the winds mix better from the upper levels down to the surface. But either way, if it's 30-mile-per-hour winds, it's 30-mile-per-hour winds. I don't know. But for real, who is this person?
I just like to interject and say I was Team Roth.
Yeah, I think
as was I.
Is a wind.
As was Dean.
Well, when you sit there and you stack the Cubs and the Braves and it doesn't go your way, you're looking for things. Well, you're not telling me that this is the first time the wind in Wrigley has disappointed us, are you, Dean?
No, but have you watched baseball before? You know how this works.
I'm just saying. The guy came with this. He came with a thought. He said the wind at night, due to maybe the friction on the ball. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist, man. I don't know, Dean.
That guy isn't either. I
didn't go to school for this. I didn't go to school. Roth did. He just made that theory, and I'm thinking, let's go back and look at the night wind. Are the night wind games the one that's disappointed us in the past? I don't know. I don't have access to the records like my buddy Patrick back in 8th grade, who kept all the records of the wind and the weather from that day.
Is it Kirkwood? Hang on. Is it Kirkwood?
No.
Kirkwood has the dew point model. This is a different. This guy is in the same chat with us. A betting chat is not Kirkwood though.
Secret chat.
It is what it is. I'm just saying. That's why I asked you. Roth is the big dog here. That's why we're asking Roth so we can get everything straight as gamblers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Send Roth an invite to the secret chat, and we'll settle it there. We'll get the cliff notes later on.
Now, Dean, we'd have to delete a whole bunch of conversations. We don't want to do that.
All right, let's get out of here. Crunch Time's going to be starting. You got Squirrel Patrol, you have Dave Potts, you got Kevin Roth, myself, and Chop and Bobby. Do appreciate watching the first portion. Do it that like button. Don't go anywhere. You got 37 minutes until first pitch. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It is crunch time. Joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got my guy Squirrel in the house. What's up, man?
Yeah, not much. Good little slate. It's starting early. FanDuel is ending early. DraftKings going a little bit longer. Yeah, and we got some good hot weather starting to take over across the country.
We do. Yes, that is the thing that's happening.
But not for long because it's almost nighttime. So
that's true. And then once it's nighttime, apparently nothing matters. Apparently a 30-mile-per-hour wind at night, even though it's literally a 30-mile-per-hour wind, is somehow less than in the day. I don't know. I don't understand it. Roth versus a credentialed meteorologist. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who this person is. I am a credentialed meteorologist, to be clear. We got Dave Potts. CheeseIsGood in the house as well. What up, Cheese?
not much. This is a fantastic slate. I love it. I love it. It is glorious from all angles.
Okay, good. Well, I'm excited to talk about it. First, though, we got to talk about this Fast and the Furious listing that they had. Did you notice they did not have Tokyo Drift at all anywhere on the board? It's a crime. It's a crime.
I don't know who. I missed the discussion where they decided who ranks Fast and Furious movies. I don't think you would get a consistent. If you polled 100 people, if there are 100 people who've seen them all, I doubt you would get the same ranking from any person.
That's true. And I really only saw the first one and maybe the second one and was like, oh, wow, this second one sucks. I'm out. But I think they got good again, like later, right? They like went down.
Well, the one they had at the bottom is the highest ranked one ever, according on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
7 is like, you can't get one rated higher than 7 by the critics and the audience. But I guess Chop doesn't like it.
Okay, yeah, that's all that matters. If Chop doesn't like it, that's it. Rough beefing with Chop will rival Drake Kendrick beef. Nah, Chop's my guy. We're Houston guys. But yeah, Tokyo Drift is fire, and no one is allowed to make fun of Tokyo Drift in my presence. I love that movie. Yeah, a lot of people saying, hey, best one by far. I'm firmly Team Roth. Good. I'm glad I'm not alone here. Let's talk about the weather here. We've got a chance for a delay in Cincinnati. Do we care?
That's a good game for bats. Pitchers, we do not care.
Great. Then I think you play it. Not going to promise that it goes 9 innings, but I feel pretty confident that it will. And you just play bats. Absolutely. And honestly, even if you want a pitcher there, I don't think you're crazy.
I mean, someone somewhere is playing Mike King.
Yeah. It's just a chance for a delay, not like there's definitely going to be a delay. And I think it would be in the latter half of the game anyways. So whatever you were going to do there, just do it anyways. Chop said he did not like, Chop did not like 7. Oh, he did not like 7. He just said it was the saddest of them all.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. If you're just in it for, hey, there's some cool car races, then yeah, there's a little more going on there.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now that Fast and Furious is behind
I hate how much I know about all the Fast and Furious movies.
I'm kind of impressed. I didn't know you were a fan, Cheese. Is your favorite?
It's really not my kind of thing, except I like how they're just it's hard not to enjoy them if you just let yourself enjoy them. And
they've gone over the top.
Enjoy a movie.
Yeah, they've just ignored reality, and we're like, we're just going to make this outrageous and ridiculous and fun, and that's what they are.
If don't overthink the movies, just go enjoy them.
Yeah. So it says Chop's meteorologist friend said Tokyo Drift wasn't a sequel. That guy. Now I got issues with him. Let's talk about this slate a little bit. Geez, you said you like it from all angles. It's a fun slate.
Yes.
Why?
Because we have, especially on DraftKings and somewhat on FanDuel, we have very strong options in every pricing tier for both pitchers and hitters, which is rare. So you can build almost any direction you want and make a good lineup. The slate's pretty darn different between the sites, mostly because of that Dodgers game. as well as the 4K pitcher on the DK slate and not on the FanDuel slate. So let me talk pitching on FanDuel first, where we don't have Glasnow or the minimum salary guy. I think Freddie Peralta is your chalk, and Chris Bassett is your chalk semi-salary saver, with Nestor Cortez and Jesus Luzardo picking up a fair amount of ownership. Like, I think that top four gets the bulk of all the ownership. Personally, I don't have a single lineup without one of those four in them. If you wanted to go up to Jared Jones in one just to be a little different, and he certainly has upside, I think that's fine, but it's not really a necessary spend to me. And because of how many good pitchers there are and different ways to go with the bats, like, I don't think you need to get weird on a one pitcher's site. So Peralta's my one, Luzardo's my two, Cortez over Bassett if you don't need the salary, but those are the only four I'm playing.
Wow. Okay. Anything else you want to say? Like maybe a dude that's you're not playing but is viable?
Honestly, not on FanDuel, no. But DraftKings is very different because we have those same four. Plus, we have Tyler Glasnow, who's probably the best of them. I mean, he's definitely the best in real life. Just matchup and salary makes him maybe the best. And then we have minimum salary, Mitch Spence in Oakland against Colorado. We don't know much about this guy, but everything from the minors to his very brief performance here says he's basically an average pitcher. And we pay $6,500 all the time for an average pitcher in Oakland in a good matchup. And he's 4K. So I'm playing a ton of him. Like, even if he's bad, whoop-de-doo. Like, and I think he has the same, not the same ceiling, but the same realistic expectation as most of the 7,000 or 8,000 guys. What I'll say, I think Bassett gets enough ownership more than Luzardo, and I like Luzardo better anyway. So I'm going out of my way to play Luzardo over Bassett if I have that $600. And that's it. It's the same pool for me. It's the same four guys, and then adding Glasnow and Spence on DraftKings, and that's all I'm doing. Now, there's a whole other slew of characters that you're allowed to do. You're certainly allowed to play Jared Jones on either site. I'm not even going to name the other 7 guys you can play. You can play them if you want. Maybe we'll see if Squirrel wants to mention any of them. Okay.
This is a fun slate. Like, we've got a min-priced, legitimate pitching option. We've got top-tier stuff, things in the middle. So, Squirrel, I bring you in here. What's your plan? Who are you overweight on?
Yeah, so it's really different on FanDuel versus DraftKings. I think I'm a little bit higher on like Chris Bassett on FanDuel than sounds like Cheese is. He's just Chris Bassett's really cheap. He's the 5th most expensive or 5th least expensive pitcher, and we have less pitchers even on FanDuel than DraftKings. So I'm playing a little bit more Chris Bassett. I'm playing some Justin Steele. He's a good pitcher, but he's facing Atlanta. So that's not the best matchup. But I like if he kind of gets blown up, I don't really care, right? I don't. If he gets like negative points, I mean, he could also have a really good outing, right? So I'm kind of embracing that variance in the really low ownership. So playing a little bit of Justin Steele. I am playing some Michael King. He said somebody out there is probably playing some Michael King, and I am playing some.
I said that because I knew it would be you.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the guy. But it's not playing a ton of them. But then all the guys that she's mentioned, I think are good. And I just think Chris Bassett's like the best all around in terms of cheap. He's probably not going to see super high ownership. Got a good matchup against the White Sox. Like, he's a safe pitcher with kind of like perceived safe matchup. On DraftKings, I'm probably a lot more aligned with Cheese. I really like the idea of playing the 4,000 guy. And he's going to see really high ownership. Maybe not like, absurd ownership, but it's not like he's going to be unknown. Like, it's just a mispricing. Like, he shouldn't be 4,000. That's cheaper than a lot of the really good hitters that I want to play. And when I play Mitch Spence, I can then play those hitters. So if a bunch of those like expensive hitters go off, or even just a handful of them, and Mitch Spence has kind of an average game, then that works. It also works if like Tyler Glasnow has a really good game because you can fit in Tyler Glasnow if you're playing Mitch Spence. And it's probably a combination that'll be used a lot, but I'll also be using this Mitch Spence character with other pitchers and just a bunch of hitters. It's just a mispricing, and so I tend to like to go overweight those things.
Yeah. Speaking of that combo, like my first thing in my head was, I want to play the cheap guy and I want to play the best dude. I want to play Glasnow and Spence. You think that's maybe the chalkiest pairing? Is that too chalky if you do it, or do you at least have to start considering your bats at that point?
Yeah, I don't think it's too chalky to do because it's really just a mispricing. Okay. I don't care about ownership so much when like the pricing is wrong. I mean, I talk about this in football season all the time. Like if some guy's mispriced, like this other guy got injured on Tuesday. Now this guy that's super cheap is starting on Sunday. It's not our fault, right? Go ahead and play the guy as much as you want. I tend to ignore ownership in those cases. So yeah, I think you can play Tyler Glasnow with Mitch Spence. I would then maybe make a little bit of an effort to like get different with bats. But I don't know. You don't necessarily have to even get that different. I mean, it's not such a big slate. That you can go way off the board, and that's necessarily, it's going to be some team way off the board that's going to win. I think you can stick with the expensive bats, if you're using Glasnow and Spence.
Okay. All right. Interesting stuff. Let's talk about the bats. We had someone say, there it is. Marines says top stack today. And I will let you kind of lead things off here. What do you think?
So for me, I think the top stacks. So I think Texas and Philadelphia, like that is a game that the weather is showing it's going to be, big boost to home runs, big boost to runs. It's a good hitter's ballpark to begin with. It's two pretty good offenses to begin with. I probably like Philadelphia the most, then Texas. Then San Diego is also a road team in a good hitter's ballpark. Sounds like they've got some humidity with potential rain. So I like San Diego as well. Those are probably my top three stacks.
Okay, very good. Let's kick it over to Cheese. Cheese, your favorite stacks?
Yeah, love those three. On DraftKings, I think the Dodgers are the top stack. I lean slightly Rangers over Phillies, but I agree. I think both teams are very much in play. As the day moved on, I found myself liking the Rays a little bit more. I've got some Braves. I've got some Reds. But definitely Dodgers, Rangers are top of my board.
Daryl says, how about stacking Colorado against Spence and hoping that he gets blown up? I mean, I know you don't like that word leverage, but this would be a pretty good example.
I don't know if that's leverage. I mean, the guy's going to be like 25% owned.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
So, and then you're playing the Rockies in Oakland. So a lot has to go right. And like, you're not getting that much leverage. Like I have one Rocky stack, and the rest of the lineup around it could score 200 points without any of those five batters. It's the only reason I'm doing it. So if you have enough lineups, sure, you should have a stack of everybody on a slate this size. But you're not really getting that much leverage. It's not like this is a 60% owned pitcher.
Okay. Squirrel, anything you want to add to that? I felt like you were.
Yeah, just that question comes up a lot with this situation. And my answer is you can just not play the pitcher. Like just play somebody else. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that the Rockies are going to go berserk. And like the Rockies aren't that good of an offense. So and again, with 150 lineups, like I'll probably be playing some Rocky stacks almost certainly. But yeah, you can just play a different combination and ignore Mitch Spence. He's not going to be that highly owned.
Right. And it feels like if the bats just do okay, like, okay, the pitcher didn't have a great day, but the pitcher was only 4K. So the people who play the pitcher still won that exchange because they get to pay up for the great bats elsewhere.
Yeah. And Spence not doing good is like 4 innings and 4 runs. And then, the Rockies have a 6-run game, and it doesn't do you any good.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Let's go around the horn. We'll talk position by position, and then we'll get to some QQs as well. Cheese, what are we doing at the catcher spot?
There's a lot of good catchers, as per usual. I do really like Will Smith and JT Realmuto. Realmuto. Put an extra syllable in there for you. The Frenchman, Shea Langelier, fantastic at 4K. Both Seattle catchers, very much in play for me. as one-offs. You don't have to be stacking any of these teams to play any of these catchers, which is what's great about the position. If you want to go cheaper than that, it's okay. Like but these guys aren't that expensive. Like Garver's only 3,200, so I don't think you need to go below that. You could do Alejandro Kirk, I guess. But then when you add, I didn't even name all the mid-tier guys like Heim and somebody else, Stevenson. Like there's so many good catchers. I don't think it's a punt the catcher kind of day.
Okay, Squirrel, your thoughts at catcher?
Yeah, so I like the Phillies and I like Texas. And part of liking the Phillies is I like JT Realmuto. He's pretty expensive, but he's a catcher. Kyle Riley is kind of interesting because he's much cheaper than Mitch Garver. Plays for the same team, so I think Mitch Garver is probably going to see higher ownership. Like Kyle Riley is maybe a little bit of a better play. He's hitting cleanup. Play Tyler Stevenson if you're looking to save a little bit more money, but not play Mitch Garver. And if there's anybody on FanDuel that's really sticking out, not really. I'd say either Jonah Heim at 3,000, or if you really want to go down, Austin Wells at 2,400.
On FanDuel, play Garver and Raleigh.
Okay, great. How about first base, Squirrel?
So first base, on FanDuel, I've got Bryce Harper on DraftKings as well. Matt Olson, Shohei Ohtani on DraftKings, although he's really expensive. He's like appropriately priced considering how good he's been, which means he's been very expensive. In the cheaper range, Jake Cronenworth as part of the Padres stack is a little bit too cheap on DraftKings at 4,300, and then value plays in that same game, Mike Ford at 3,300.
Okay, Cheese.
Yeah, it's I love this slate. It's like pitcher. You got all the price range. You can go all the way up to Ohtani. It's fantastic, or Bryce Harper, or Freeman, or Olson, or pretty expensive but great. Or you go mid tier. Nate Lowe is my favorite, but there's plenty of others there. You can go a little cheaper with like Candelario or Mike Ford. I think on DraftKings you can go down to Jonathan Aranda. Just punt it if you want. I don't think you have to play your first baseman first. I think you build the rest of your lineup and see if you have money. But I think the guy I have the most of because of the price point is Nate Lowe.
Okay, how about second?
This is the position second and third, I guess, are the positions I don't love the one-offs quite as much as elsewhere. Semien is my favorite if I'm spending up. Albies is second. The Blue Jays guys are interesting. Schneider and Biggio. Bryson Stott is kind of pricey for who he is, but I like him somewhat. I think Brandon Lau is a little too cheap. He's probably the guy I have the most of, Lau and Lowe. Add another Lowe in the outfield. I do have triple LOWE lineups. Somewhat cheap there. So Gavin Lux down there with Kevin Biggio on DK. Still waiting that lineup, but I'm assuming he's going to be in there.
Okay, Squirrel, second base.
Yeah, so I think Ozzy Albies is definitely a good choice. He's a little pricey. Marcus Semien, same thing, good choice. I like him as part of the Ranger stack playing in Philadelphia. Luis Arraez never hits for a ton of power, but he's leading off for the Padres, and the Padres are a stack that I like. And then David Schneider is probably the best all-around second baseman. He's leading off for Toronto today against the White Sox. So, he's probably my top option for the dollar.
Okay. The Dodgers lineup is now out. Lux is indeed in. He is batting in the 6 hole for what it's worth.
All right, no, I just pulled that up. Looks like, as per usual, other than Lux being a spot higher, that is the exact projected lineup we had because our team is amazing.
Very good. Okay. Squirrel, third base. What do you like?
So top option, Manny Machado. I think, the Padres are on the road. They're in a good hitting ballpark, and being on the road means that if they are the team that scores 14 runs and they're facing the shortstop, they still get to bat in the ninth inning. So like the Padres, like Manny Machado, he's one of the top options on the Padres. Christopher Morel, then probably right after Manny Machado for the Cubs. I don't love the Cubs stack today, but Morel is probably my best, favorite hitter on the Cubs. Alex Bohm with the Phillies. And then did Rafael Devers have a game where he did not hit a home run yet? Yes, he did yesterday. But still, He's hit
Cold,
home
ice
runs.
cold.
Yeah, ice cold.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, he was due for a home runless game, but he is also still a very good option at third base. He's not going to see a lot of ownership because Ryan Pepio is a decent pitcher, but yeah, I think you can go with Devers regardless.
Okay,
Excellent
very
play.
good. Yeah. Let's kick it to Cheese. Your thoughts on third?
Yeah, I just want to mention the Squirrel said if San Diego blows them out and they get to see the shortstop pitching, that would be Ellie De La Cruz on the mound. I bet he's amazing, and I would love to see it.
We would all like to see that actually. Yeah.
I do like Machado as well. He hasn't been amazing this year, but that means his price is down a little bit too. I mentioned Candelario at first. I like him at third better than at first. I've got a little bit of Justin Turner and Chris Morel, Josh Smith in Texas stacks, Kiki Hernandez, Oswaldo Cabrera is just kind of random cheap-ish stuff. But I really don't love the position. Really second and third are the two kind of – I'm mostly playing a guy in my stack unless I'm spinning up to Machado at third or Semien or Albies at second.
Okay, how about shortstop?
I think Seager is probably the chalk because he's enough cheaper than Ellie De La Cruz. I love both of them, but I can use that money. And then on DraftKings, we have Mookie Betts as well. Those are the three superstars of our superstar position. I think Seager is the highest owned, and I'm fine with that because he's cheaper. But most of my lineups have one of those three shortstops. I don't mind a little cheaper with Bo Bichette, Dylan Moore's on the board, the guys in the Atlanta Cubs game, Swanson, Arcia. I think that's all I have as a one-off. I've got a couple of guys in stacks.
Okay, Squirrel short.
So on DraftKings, I think Corey Seager, Ellie De La Cruz, and Mookie Betts are all really good. They're all really expensive. I'd say if you're using one of those stacks, like a Texas stack or a Cincinnati stack or a Dodger stack, you want to prioritize using one of those guys because they're among the best hitters on their teams. If you want to save money, I think Dylan Moore is really good. He's hitting fifth. He's in Yankee Stadium. He's only 3,600. That's a really good price. On FanDuel, you don't have the option of doing Mookie Betts. You still have Corey Seager or Ellie De La Cruz. Dylan Moore is still a really good value option. But Jackson Merrill for the Padres is also shortstop eligible on FanDuel, and he actually ranks out for me as a better value option than Dylan Moore. And in fact, I think at 2,700, one of the best value options on the slate at any position, any shortstop eligible.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the outfield, Squirrel.
Yeah, it's the normal murderer's row of really good hitters. My favorites are probably Aaron Judge and Fernando Tatis, followed very closely by Adolis Garcia and Kyle Schwarber. I think it's Aaron Judge had a 165 home run prop earlier today, which is just absurdly low, and it actually went lower over the course of the day, went to 155. His entire career, he murders right-handed pitchers in Yankee Stadium. So Yankee stack isn't going to see a ton of ownership, but I think Judge is an excellent one-off. And if you are using a Yankee stack, I would use Judge as part of it. If you're looking for value plays, Jackson Merrill is outfield eligible on both sites in the outfield. He's a really good value play. And then the Reds have a guy, Jacob Urtubisi, who is leading off.
That sounds like it. I think you got it.
Yeah. He's 2,100 on FanDuel, and let me check. He's cheap on also a good value play on DraftKings at some price 2,000. Yeah, flat 2,005.
Okay, Cheese, you got some Urtubisi as
yeah. And as I was clicking his name, I said it just like that. PC and got him in there. We also have it's a pitcher. You can go 3 expensive guys, 3 cheap guys, 3 mid tier, 1 of each. It's all over the place, and it's all pretty good. At the high end, certainly Ohtani's my favorite on DK. I think then I go Soto, Schwarber, and Ozuna. But all the expensive guys, Tatis is great, Judge is great, Adolis, it's all fantastic. Mid-tier wise, I think I have the most Evan Carter and Brent Rooker, but there's like 50 guys in that range too. A little cheaper, I like Adam Duvall. We do have Hurt2 BC and Zach DeLoach for the White Sox. A dude with some power, who is also named DeLoach. Got him as a punt as well. It's just loaded. Play 3 outfielders, and you will have 3 good ones.
Okay. This is going to be a fun part because this is when we get to go home run picking. You said there's a million good plays everywhere. So we are going to hammer some home run calls. And I think I'll let Squirrel lead us off, if you don't mind, Squirrel.
Sure. I will start with Jackson Merrill. He knows he's an excellent value play on both sites, so that means he's absolutely going to go yard.
He's going to be locked in, yeah.
I'll continue with Mike Ford. Also, he knows he's just good value, got the platoon advantage. I'm going to go a little bit pricier, somebody that has not had the best season so far, but Julio Rodriguez.
Okay, perfect. Cheese, 3 names.
High end, we'll go Corey Seager. Little mid tier, I'll just go same team, Nate Lowe back to back, and then random cheap Zach DeLoach.
I like it. Be careful if you're betting low for a home run. There's like 17 of them, so make sure
all of them should hit one. So
okay.
Parlay all 3 of them together. See what that gets you.
Someone earlier asked, like, there's you get low correlation, right? And that made me chuckle. I enjoyed that. All right, hey, let's take some QQs. If you've got, by the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, you should. This is a free show, and all we ask for is that you hit subscribe, trying to get some eyeballs, build it, keep it rolling, keep it free for you, and the thumbs up is the best way that you can do that. So please do that. This is a fun question for me, Cheese, because I only learn baseball through this show. I do not follow it in any other way. The question is, Eric says, Cheese, any concern Tatis isn't what we thought he was?
Depends what we thought he was, I guess. I assume that means if we thought he was like the best player ever. So we're actually seeing this a lot. You could put Tatis, Vlad Guerrero, and even Ronald Acuna in this same spot. It's these super uber talented guys who come up and have this huge season, and then they kind of back off for a while. And I don't see any reason they're not all going to be absolute superstars still and again. Mm-hmm. But it is conceivable that they have all had their career years already, and they just came young. And I'll say all 3 of them are still kind of ground ball-ish hitters. So maybe if anything's fluky about all of them, it's the 40 homer seasons. I'm not sure, but they're all so young that yes, they're all fine. And we might see, like right now, like Bobby Witt and Kyle Tucker might be having career seasons right now. And next year it might be Tatis who's doing this. And then we're like, well, is Kyle Tucker broken now? There's no concern over any of these guys. They're all going to have career years and then down years. And that's just what it is.
Right. It's just, if you come up and you're young and you have that career year early.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
Just who you are.
Yeah. When that first year is so elite, it's like you can never live up to yourself.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. All right. Good talk. Thank you. I've learned more about baseball and the current state of the players. Let's take some QQs. Let's see what we got. I'm starting in the Discord, as always. That's where the cool kids are hanging out. And we do have some questions coming in from my guy, D-Rock, large field GPP Squirrel. Your favorite one-off at short, my guy, Caballero, Horner, Moore, or Arcia?
I think Dylan Moore.
Okay. Right back to you here. DK Cash, Squirrel, third base, McMahon, or Morel?
So I don't do a ton of cash, but I would go Christopher Morel.
Okay, great. Cheese, back to you. This is DK Cash at short. Do you like Swanson? Actually, this was FanDuel and DK. Do you like Swanson and cash at short?
The way I'm building, I would just get up to Seager. I think Swanson is fine on DK. I don't think he's really fine on FanDuel in cash.
Okay. Blink 182 says, I would like Mr. Cheese's opinion on Ryan Pepio. please. I'm thinking of playing him in a large field DK GPP. If he's French, it's Pepois. But
Yeah.
I don't.
So what I said in the musings is, if everyone were at the same point health-wise, he would be my favorite mid-tier guy. But he's been out for 15 days with no rehab starts. So I think he has a real limited cap. Like, I would be stunned if he goes more than 5 innings. So for that reason, I just can't play him over Baster or Luzardo. If you want to take the chance that they just pitch him like it's normal, then he's very much in play there. But I don't have any.
Okay. Chinatown says Squirrel, DK Cash, Glass now, and Hertu BC. That's the answer. Or Bassett and Otani. Oh crap, that might be the answer too.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the first one?
It was Glass now and Hertu BC or Bassett Otani.
Cash, I might just do Glass now.
Okay.
And your Hertabeezy's leading off. So
yeah. Okay. Both seem like pretty solid options for what it's worth. FanDuel Cash right back to you, Squirrel. Biggio Soto or Schneider Vlad?
Go Biggio Soto.
Great. Jumping into back into the YouTube. What do we have here? Cheese, he says, Sims is giving me Nastrini in a DK GPP MME as a SP2. Nastrini. Any interest there?
I'm surprised and interested to hear that. I mean, I'm not sure what to say. It's conceivable that he is a decent pitcher. He's not anywhere near my pool today, personally. Because there's just enough pitchers. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a terrible pitcher, and he's cheap. It's just, I don't know.
Maybe not the night for it for you.
Yeah. I understand if you say, I want to try him instead of Mitch Spence, it's a $1,500 difference. But at that point, I would just go up more.
Yeah. All right. Your favorite single entry team. This is a good question. You're doing one stack. I'll give this to both of you. Cheese, one stack to win it all in single entry. Where are you going?
On DK, I'm going to the Dodgers. On
FanDuel?
I think I'm going to do the Reds.
Okay. Squirrel, I think you liked that Philly game. I think it's one of those.
Yeah, I'd go with the Phillies.
Yeah. All right. What else do we have? We got Daryl George all the way from South Carolina coming in. Yahoo Cash question. Cheese, pick a first baseman. Olsen, Ozuna, Harper, or should I give me Freeman or give me Death?
Ooh, wow, those are good. I would go Freeman there in cash, but I don't think you go wrong any way you go there.
Okay. Eric Johnson says White Sox stack. Squirrel, any interest on DK?
Not really. Too off the board for me. I am playing one White Sox stack, I think, out of 150 lineups. Okay. It's the only team I'm playing one 5-man stack of.
Oh, interesting. All right. Devin says DK single entry outfield, Squirrel, last man in, 4,300 or under in the outfield.
4,300 or under Jackson Merrill.
Okay. DK Cash pitchers, Cheese. I just assumed it was the cheap guy and Glass now. I just feel like, but maybe that cheap guy is too risky. Cardi would
I don't know if you need to go that cheap in cash. Because I think with Bassett being only 7,200, I think you can get up there pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
I would lean that. I do not think there's a clear best answer for DK Cash tonight. My guess, personally, I would have Peralta and Luzardo, I think. But I wouldn't tell you that's the answer. I'm just telling you those are my two favorites. I think Glass now Bassett is probably the most correct answer. But there's so many ways to build. I really don't have a strong preference on it.
I have a strong preference. I think I do. I rarely have a strong. You play Glass now, and you play the 4K freaking pitcher who we don't think sucks and is in a great spot, and you save $5,000 that you get awesome hitters with. That feels like the right thing to do. Keep in mind, I don't play. I don't play. So, but that certainly seems like the right thing.
You play as many cash games as I play. So.
Yeah. I don't know. That just seems like the obvious right thing. Like Squirrel said, he's just mispriced, period. He's not priced properly. Take advantage of that and do something with the money. Let's see what else we got here. Cleveland Picker says, Squirrel, thoughts on the 2-time Cy Young winner tonight against the Pirates?
So I ended up playing a little bit of Blake Snell on FanDuel, but not on DraftKings. And so he was kind of in that range where when we added the 2 extra pitchers, I just had no reason to play Blake Snell. He hasn't looked good. So
he topped out at 60 pitches in rehab. So that, I mean, the ceiling is really low pitch wise.
Yeah. That's a problem. All right. Steele or Gomber, Squirrel on DK. Steele or Gomber?
I like Justice Steele. I'm actually playing some Justice Steele on FanDuel as well. So let me just make sure. Yeah, I've got Steele over Gomber.
Okay. LSU for Life says Snell going off. Like maybe, but if he's only going off over 65 or 70 pitches, is that enough?
Like on a different slate, I'd have. I mean, if he's Blake Snell, he could strike out 10 batters in 70 pitches. I mean, it's not out of the realm. It's such a good slate elsewhere.
Yeah. All right. Cheese, do you have a lot of Ellie and Seager together?
I don't. May or may not have any.
Okay. All right. Hey, Roth, who was your Weatherman Thunder Stick of the Night play? It's the cheap pitcher.
Yes.
Yeah. The cheap pitcher is going to get you like 20 DK points, and he's 4K, and that's good, right?
I love that you have a thing and that's your thing. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have. I mean, it really is.
You just play cheap pitchers and then play fun bats, and everything is better.
And especially when they're not terrible. I mean,
right.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think you do it. That's my play. Important question from Henry. Wow, it's almost over. Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy. In theory, they're closing and being gone forever. Although sometimes places file for bankruptcy and then they're still around. I don't understand.
Yeah, I've so many times thought, I guess I don't know what bankruptcy is.
Yeah, right.
I don't appear to hurt anybody.
How do you still exist? I'm so confused. Anyways, Henry says, are you going to eat any endless shrimp before Red Lobster closes? Squirrel?
No, I read a whole article on Red Lobster that it was actually like the endless shrimp promotion that did them in. People ate too much shrimp. And now they're going out of business, and everybody wants to run and like, oh, we got to sell rat by eating the shrimp. That's what did it to them. But they're like auctioning off all their stuff, and sometimes you do see this, but like another company might step in and like buy the brand. It's probably not going to happen as much with like restaurants. But like AT&T has gone out of business, has gone completely bankrupt like 12 times in 100 years, and somebody just like some small phone company would step in and buy the AT&T brand. Be like, well,
Squirrel, you want to buy Red Lobster with me? And,
and
we won't do endless shrimp. We'll just be like, you can have 15 shrimp.
Yeah. You just call it like a shitload of shrimp.
No, dude, there's a big Wall Street Journal article about this, about Red Lobster going at it.
I wonder if it was just people ate too much shrimp and they were losing money, or if people ate so much shrimp that they also didn't really want to come back.
Yeah, they were like, that's the last time I'm going there.
Yeah, they're like, man, I ate so many shrimp, I don't need to go to Red Lobster for like 6 months. And it's like a 1-2 punch.
Well, the one in Auburn was one of the first ones to close, and Mrs. Cheese is upset. I think I've been to Red Lobster twice since I've lived here, and that's like over 20 years. And the last time was well over a decade ago, and I have never since thought, oh, I should go back there.
Yeah. The biscuits, though, I mean, we need to RIP those cheddar biscuits. Those things, legitimately great. Are there any other good chain restaurants where the bread and or biscuit really stand out as like above the rest?
Sneaky great bread at Longhorn.
Longhorn. Oh, is that it's like
dark. Dark. Yeah. It's
okay.
Outback.
Yeah. Outback. Olive Garden. Everybody says Olive Garden. They've got those.
Well, it's just because of how bad the rest of their food is. Like, well, I guess the bread was edible.
Those breadsticks are really good when they first come out, and if you give them like 2 minutes to cool down. They're truly terrible. You gotta get right on them. Texas Roadhouse is a popular answer. Is this? I've had this conversation before. By the way, we hit the lock. We're going to go soon. Yeah, we hit lock. We're going to get out of here soon. Is Texas Roadhouse the place where they throw the rolls in the air and people catch them and there's peanut shells all over the ground? What is that place?
That's Logan's.
That's
with the
Logan's.
peanut shells.
Okay. All right. Because I've been to that place and I thought this whole time it was Texas Roadhouse. Okay. Well, we have people good and hungry and we've hit lock. And I think we've done all the things that we came here to do. So we're going to bounce for Squirrel for Cheese for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.